champions. This guy just tore them apart here. 48 eliminations now, superseding Dukes' trio, who at 48 points as well at the beginning of day number 2 here. We're in the lead. Now they've lost that lead to Tabs, Teo, and Pledge, going in 18 points ahead right now. Look at those placement points looking pretty at 152 as well. But the thing is, it's been so exciting, fellas, is the fact that here for those top teams to take advantage of the fact that a lot of the top trios are going out so early in the games. They're going out so early in the first 2 games here. There is a real opportunity to kick off from that and go into those top spots. Have done. They've utilized every opportunity given to them and got to that top spot, but can they maintain it? We can see it's getting really tight there with the first 2 or 3 places or so, but as well, looking at 11th through 20th position as well here, we can see we saw a clip there of Gabe Tahi against Rose, currently in 20th position there. You start making your way up, we see the likes of Mega Rokin and Dubs there in 11th position. I mean, it'd be great to see some of these teams here in this 11th through 20th spot have managed to get themselves into the top 10 and break through. If that keeps happening like it has in the first 2 games, where you see top teams really dropping the ball early on, any of these teams could easily make the leaderboard now and start getting into those really high prize pool amounts.
Oh yeah, when you have the teams at the top start to dwindle and not really do as well, right, that gap closes ever so slightly. And yeah, that's pretty much what's happening now. So it kind of creates a situation where the top 5 can shuffle really well around, right? And then Tabji, Teo, and Pledge, if they keep playing well, though, they're going to create a gap for themselves. So we might just see them run away with the victory. However, anybody that's in the top 5, top 10 right now is not safe, and they need to keep playing really well to maintain those positions.
Oh, absolutely. And one thing, I think it's fair to say we should definitely take a look at Tabs, Teo, and Pledge and see exactly why these guys are currently doing so well on day 2. And I've had a great start to the competition to really kind of put them, as front runners right now. They're sat at top, and they've got every opportunity to go the distance. What I love about them, you look at their kind of stats over FNCS finals over the last 2 days in total here. We're kind of, we've just seen game number 8 unfold. They have not fallen any lower in standings than 11th position right now. They've been 11th 3 times, 10th one time, 1st place, a 5th place, a 9th place. They are consistently getting good standing positions here. And, we know that they kind of land in Weeping Woods. They have that kind of, it looks uncontested all to themselves. So a great kickstart. They don't have anyone to battle off the drop. But you can see it taking out Stretch as well. I mean, they've got some great stats. And whilst I'm sure we'll see spotlights eventually, but, taking out big teams as they make their way towards the top spot is really impressive of it.
Yeah, I mean, especially I like that ending right there as we were watching on the live broadcast. Pledge was just kind of running in to boxes, right? And that's how you know that these players are feeling themselves, right? When they have that confidence, that's when they become really scared, because they have the potential to make plays on anybody that they really want. It's just all about that confidence and not letting the nerves get to you. And Pledge right now, he has that.
Dude, could not agree more. And a really quick stat, crazy to think that after game day number 1, Dukes and company, they set a record for having the most time in first place, right? Off day 1 and day number 2, they've finally been overtaken. We'll have to see if they can make a comeback or not. But for now, we're jumping back on the battle bus with Reese and MDF.
Here we go. Here we have it. Another game down in the books and a back-to-back victory royale for the X-Set Trio plus clarity there, man. What a way to kick it off, make a statement, as Vivid mentioned here, and really jump your way back up into the conversation here. But the question is, how are Dukes, Justice, and Users going to fare now that they've had 2 games just go downhill for them here at the jump of the competition, giving up what looked like a near unsurmountable lead, Reese, to Tabs G, Teo, and Pledge, who have, I don't know, quite honestly just decided they just want to win
this morning. So a lot of our top teams, in all honesty, from yesterday are just struggling so much in that early to mid game with Surge outside of Tabs G, Teo, and Pledge. So it's really different to see, because yesterday we just did not have that story at all. And for guys like Booga's team, for example, who struggled both matches so far, they have 3 teams contesting all the way around. We've seen the Steamy Stacks fight going on. We've also seen the contestation from DJ's team when it comes to just south of them in their drop spot as well. And then also we've looked at P-God's team with tons of team fighting there against Makwa's team. So there's so many teams that are contested all the way around them. So it's so odd to see them struggle with Storm Surge. If they just rotate a little bit south in this south zone now finally, then they may be able to go into DJ's team third party from there on out. But I've seen finally a south zone. We've seen the first 2 games completely to the north. I've already seen Second Commandment Edgy wanting and needing to get this south zone for them. They've been dying for it at this point, honestly. So at this point, let's see if they can actually make the most of this game.
Yeah, that's a really great point. The fact that, yeah, Sensei Edge and Commandment have been battling against the Storm positioning just in general, kind of forcing them up far north. So the fact that they finally get a little favoritism down here, this could work out. The sun is starting to begin to set here, but hopefully not on their game and tournament life here.
Indeed, the sun has set, and for Dukes, users and justice hopefully not set on their entire tournament, right? This has been a drastic change to what we've seen. We're not seeing that confident team we saw yesterday who is easily able to drop 14 eliminations in a game and another game with 11. We're seeing a team who's struggling with the fundamentals that I hyped them up with so much yesterday. The rotations, the positioning, the storm surge tags, hitting those, being aggressive when it needed to, being able to be passive when you needed to. That's what we saw from them yesterday, and today we're just not seeing that yet.
I mean, to be fair, granted, they've also had the same struggles as Sensei Commandment with the zone here, so who knows, maybe this little switch up here, finally getting a little bit of that south positioning can work for them.
I'm not buying it. They won a game yesterday in almost the same position because it was in the Pleasant Park. One of their games, I'm pretty sure the one they won there, they managed to win it from Pleasant Park. Same story, that they can do it on that northwest zone. For them, I'm not giving them zones. Obviously, they've been tough, right? Definitely been tough zones for them at the end of the day. But they were able to capitalize on that yesterday, and we're definitely not been able to see that today so far.
I was going to say, I try to throw a bone, good cop, bad cop here. Reese is playing the bad cop today. He's not having it.
Bad cop today.
We'll see how it's going to end up folding out for this team right now. Gabe Tahi and Sprite trying to bounce back. It's a fight that we've watched unfold a few times today. Gabe Tahi and Sprite, though, definitely taking the bulk of the points on the day so far. This is game number 9 of 12, ladies and gentlemen. A very pivotal moment now for the teams that are looking to kind of claw their way back into the competition. As again, the top 10, the leaderboards, the standings themselves really began to open up here today. Comes a sneaky shot, great tag, but oh my gosh, the flick from the other side. I'd pay to see that one again. Iamzo comes on in. That's a drop kick if I ever saw one, and he puts him right down. Oh my gosh.
I mean, Iamzo is an incredibly mechanical player when it comes to actual correct quote-unquote mechanics, and also just having fantastic aim and flick shots. Being able to hit under pressure, reactionary shots like that is what differentiates these players from the players who have not managed to make it through to the finals. Like, there's a reason every single team has made it here today, and stuff like that is what makes them put on a show at the same time. They've been super good through the qualifiers. So far, not so good when it came to the actual finals, right? They're down in the 28th. They're in the bottom 5, but hopefully we can see them pop off.
And they're having a good day today. Like I said, 41 points is not too bad for the day if you just look at today's points that they've earned. But definitely. Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, definitely a rough 2-day format so far. We still got a couple games in front of us, this one included, as Xed Knight and Shark, or Xed Knight and Shark, you see that? Shark Knight and Clarity here. I've been having a great day today. 82 points, doubled up. It's double or nothing for them as they're just trying to jump back into this. Like I said, where are they standing right now? They're in top 6, so they jumped 2 spots after that last Victory Royale. I'm very keen to ask the question, where were they before this tournament ended or started? Because I don't think they were inside the top 10, right?
They were not. They were 13th, if my memory serves correctly. Let me scroll and check. No, they were not. Hold on. Let me do a little Control F as we go here. Exit. They were in 16th, so they had 98 points. 98 points across the first 6 games. So far, in the first 2 games, so far already, they've got 82. So they've nearly doubled their points in 2 games in comparisons to the 6 that they played yesterday, which is crazy. So I've told you, some teams wake up on day number 2, they have an extra level of confidence, almost like underperforming and middling in day number 1, gives them that boost, gives them that energy to hit the back-to-back Victory Royales.
Yeah, and look at this. That's the second time, by the way, we've watched Shark and Knight go back-to-back with consecutive Victory Royales. Last time they did it was in Chapter 2, Season 4. And this is a feature or a feat that, pretty unheard of, right? Not a lot of teams have done this. I mean, I challenge the crew to let us know who else has gone for back-to-backs, especially in a final-style setting, because, I'm sure we can count them most likely on our 2 hands.
I mean, yeah, it's minimal. Like, even teams who pick up Victory Royales in finals, just like singular Victory Royales in finals, is incredibly impressive. So to have 2 different times where you've picked up back-to-back is absolutely crazy. And in that one, obviously, they had AV with them, and there was a full exit trio rather than having Clarity G. They end up placing 8th. So right now, like, we're looking for a top 10 finish from these guys from the way that they're performing, if history is anything to judge.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. As we talked about how the zone is going to play a factor for Commandment Sense and Edgy here. Now, the real question, is it going to be answered right now? There's a team that just slipped by, and we already know the more time you spend here, the less time they have to actually farm up some Storm Surge tags or take a fight. It's going to be very important for them right now where they decide to go. They're going to cut directly center. They're going north to try and see if they can find teams migrating south here, giving up their beautiful spot where the zone is probably likely to pull in the coming moments here. For Tabs G, Pledge, and Teo, though, they're on the move right now. Teo just on fire. This is a team that obviously got together this season. New trio right now. We're watching just figure it out here today.
Yeah, I mean, if they're not careful, they will quite literally be on fire with that car getting so weakened at the same time. So they have been popping off, and to be honest with you, they are the Weeping Woods team, right? That's where they drop. So their positioning here is so important because they can claim those hills to the east really well for the best Storm Surge positions. But right now, this isn't the one that's going to give them the best sight lines by any means. Being down on the south side, being up on that north side can give you 360-degree views, and that's what you really need. Right now, they're really limiting themselves to the teams who are over-peaking up north, which, trust me, for these top-level teams is not going to be many tags at all, and basically unscented Engine Commandment who are down below rotating out, who are veterans and hopefully won't be let you be tagged up for them. But I am slightly concerned actually for Scented Commandment and Edgy. They're wanting the south zone. Now they're going to be boxing up on the lake, again a position that's not going to give them too many sightlines over that many players, so hopefully they have this figured out.
Not to mention, they just took the vehicle to this northern landmass and then went right back from where they came from, right? So lost material, lost HP, heals, and all that stuff in the process there, and probably didn't find tags. We didn't see a gun duel by any means between those two trios right there. So, yeah, they didn't really gain much for that other than a time loss and some HP loss, and now a poor positioning here. As we jump on over to Dubs, Rocane, and Mega, again, their spot, their draw spot in particular, is about as center as you can get for a major POI. So more often than not, they're not really looking to move around in the early game here, and they shouldn't have too much of an issue finding a fight, as the zone is almost always going to favor their drop.
It's true, and on this north side of the second zone, there's going to be a ton of players congested there, and hopefully they can take advantage of that for shots. You can see Rocane only has 2 sniper shots. Oh, I take that back as he gets dropped from Dubs. So now he's got enough ammo to make sure he can take those tags, right? So little quick stat flying into Rocane individually took his team from 17th to 6th last game. That is a crazy clutch, actually. That's basically the entire moving zones, because like usually when that first moving zone starts, you're going to see roughly 17 teams up. So to make it to top 6, that is a huge clutch.
Yeah, and that's what we're hoping to see when we watch those other teams just start to break apart, right? Our top few trios, like when Commandment was a solo, when you know, the entire lobby run was on Duke's back there, but it's hard to do. Very few get to do it, and when you do, I mean, you get awesome stats like that flowing for you. So we'll continue to keep you guys in the know-how here for what's unfolding. Because right now, Rocane and company just trying to continue to find these shots here. Very important that they get these tags to stay in the game right now. And look, the zone. Look at the zone, Reese. It kind of pulls north here just a bit.
Yeah, it's more North Pole, which still means that north side's going to be heavily congested. You can see that with the amount of teams who've rotated south from the north side, like the Craggy Cliffs teams. I'm imagining we may see Macwood's team if they're still up in this game, or P-God's team potentially still around. No, P-God's team is actually out, so potentially Macwood's team is one of those teams who they're looking to take shots on right now. They're poising that sniper to go for it. Ooh, and I was thinking we might get a little ankle shot, but no, only the 20 is going to come through for them. So I'm thinking right now, right, if they manage to get in a little bit deeper, they may be in a good spot, but there's going to be so many teams situated on those hills to the south of them, because that's always where the players get boxed up on these kind of zones. So I'm thinking they may have a tough rotate if they leave it a little bit too late, getting pinched between these two teams. And it seems like now that the damage threshold has popped up, they're okay. It was getting me worried for a minute there. They're okay. They're 299 above.
Hey man, there's too much competitive history and experience behind this trio for them not to be okay right now coming into the middle of the day 2. They're looking to be pretty set up here. Now, mind you, they're fighting for top 10. They're just trying to fight their way right back into things here. They're just outside the bubble. Thousands of dollars make the difference between being outside that top 10 and breaking into those lower placements, I should say.
But every little bit counts, remember. Once you get into a top 10, a top 15, top 20, each one of these thresholds gets you more and more money. And once you're in that top 10, it's every single placement from there. You know, 9, 8, once you get 7th, and so on all the way up till 1st, you get more and more money. So for them, like, they're vying for that top 10 so far, but it all adds up when it comes to the money, the dosh and the moolah, you know?
Oh, look at this. They dropped the mark here. Justice Users and Dukes. And I think that's onto Sensei Edge and Commandment's base. And now they're on the move here. They're just trying to find any trio here. They need these tags. 14 players have to go down, and they recognize as shots come out of this base here. That's a sign. They want the fight. Oh, look at the trio. Teo, Tabs, G, and Pledge is a very, very big fight. Very important fight for our number 1 and 2 seeded teams right now. And this is a fight that Justice Users and Dukes are going to take if they cannot find a tag here when they look inwards. But the lobby's starting to notice they migrated towards the space, so they are definitely looking for Surge right now.
Regardless of the outcome this fight, it's going to be massive on the leaderboards unless both teams somehow manage to go down and they're start triple spraying that wall. But again, like we've mentioned many times, these teams need to be more aggressive. They're playing so safe. They're playing for tags, but most of the time it just doesn't work out in this situation, as we see Knifer's team push on in, who also needs to get tags. So this may actually end up working out for them, and it does for Justice, who manages to get tags on the desperate team. But no, they've been traded back at the same time. Justice now down to 68 above, now 66 above the threshold, but only 68 HP, so they cannot afford to get hit anymore or stall more time. They're still going to need more tags. I see Donnie's team is one of the teams who's below, so they are going to be very, very aggressive and try to not panic. But Tabs G's team potentially could just make the most of this, as we see Justice team now getting sprayed from Jack, Acorn, and Slacks as well. All of the top contenders coming in, as we see Justice being picked up, almost fully finished now, down to no HP, but the chug cannon could be clutch. Users now down to 37 HP. The pressure being applied. He's trying to get outside of the box, trying to do what he can in this situation now as a duo, and I think he's finally got some time to breathe.
They've done it. They actually clutched up, though. That was almost very, very terrible for them. Although they lost a player here, they do manage to stay alive. And what a clash of names here, guys. Jack, Acorn, and Slacks, our 4th place team, out of nowhere just come bulldozing right into the build here. And it looks like they're not done. They managed to heal up. They're looking for more now. I think they've recognized, hey, this is Duke's Users. We can get in here. We can actually take these guys down. They already got Justice. Might as well finish up the deed here. Little do they know, though, they have to be careful. On the other side of the wall, our number 1 team of Tabs, G, Teo, and Pledger here. These shots can also bring their interest to the battle. So 1st, 2nd, and 4th are not safe in this little dangerous mix we have going on here.
It's true, and this right now, if you're saying Commandment Edgy, you've got a big smile on your face, because you're just seeing all of the other teams who are getting chunked away from your HP and your materials. But it seems like Slacks, Acorn, and Jack potentially have done very well from that, actually. Potentially not actually done too much damage. Same with Teo's team. Yes, they got the HP, but I want to know, did that impact their inventory? Like, how much were they situated before? We know they had good materials before that, but is that going to scuff them up a little bit? Because Donnie's team pushed up, we saw a ton of tags coming out on them, so we'll have to see how that ends up impacting their inventory. Remember, they are currently 1st place right now, too, so that's going to be huge for them. We haven't seen Send Command and Edgy for a while, so I'm hoping they've put themselves into a good spot. They've got their tags, they've situated themselves relatively close to center on 3rd, which we know they're very, very frequently able to do. So we'll see for them.
No, Commandment, Sense, and Edge are definitely in this game. I'm pretty sure I saw Commandment's name in the feed there while that very important fight was going down. So, yes, they are still up. They're still active here, continuing to make their little bits of waves here. Pledge, Tabsy, and Teo, though, they have 3 eliminations. So they won that entire engagement against the Storm Surge team of Knife that was pushing on in, trying to see if they can actually, again, find their surge, find their footing in the game. But instead, they hit the brick wall here. Pledge, Teo, and Tabsy now have everything that they need. And look at how big this tarp is, right? This is giving them so much space, making their way to new zone. And now they get to get this airdrop here, which is going to get them a full-on launch pad here soon.
I asked the question, I wonder how this is going to have impacted them in that fight. Clearly, when they picked up the eliminations onto Donnie's team had ample material, so they could just tunnel their way all the way in, refresh and drop the mats as they go, so they are in such a good spot at this moment. Almost center zone. Sure, they don't have good visibility on the rest of the map because they are more low ground when they have these teams like Acorn's team and Eomzo's team up around looking down. But at the same time, look, they're going to have launch pads. They've just managed to grab the supply drop. So regardless of where they have to go, they're going to be A-OK alongside the fact that they're pretty close to center. So they're probably going to get in the next zone as well.
Yeah, I'm wondering, users and Dukes. Okay, I was going to say they have two options. They can break into the enemy tarp and follow them all the way through dead center, or go around the base here. They're going to go out and decide to go on foot through the base as Slacks, Acorn, and Jack just steamroll into Nut, Yamzo, and company up on the mountain there. You can see a little fight breaking out there, so the distraction is up. Might as well start going now, and there it is. They do see those builds. They recognize, hey, we can actually get this free rotate here, take advantage of that. And they do get to cross for free here now. Mind you, they have to start conserving as much material and stuff as possible here. So I was hopeful to see them jump in that build just to see if they can find some old leftover builds, but looks like that's not going to be the play that they decide to go with here. And we'll find out if it ends up punishing them, because they're starting to run out of material quickly.
They are starting to run out quickly, but yeah, again, they're still far below, because, you know, their worries are not over for this game. They're still gonna have to figure out what they do next, right? You can't just slow down forever. The next Storm Surge threshold is going to come through at the same time, and they're still situated to pledge. TabsG and Tail, the first place team, and Jukes is looking. They're gonna try and do something here, but that's not necessarily the team that you want to apply pressure to. They're the most successful team in the entire lobby so far, so this could be a tough one as they actually start to get sprayed into the back. And yes, he's going to try and go for the snipe to return the pressure back. Yeah, again, as I mentioned, their signature play always to reapply the pressure, as they do, which they haven't been doing too successfully today. But they're going to slow down, not necessarily go for it yet, and look for any more opportunities, but they have 13 seconds before that Storm Surge starts to tick.
Yep, up next is the battle for all the marbles here. They have to pick and choose what team they're going to go up against. And oh no, the edit comes out, the punishment comes in. This is going to be valuable seconds lost here, as the Surge is now going to start to get active, and they're far below. And not only that, early chug cannon usage there as well. So everything that they need to be saving here to combat the Storm Surge is now being used prematurely. A fight breaks out up top. They're trying to take advantage of this. Will there be enough tags? That's one, but no, they need so much more. This might just be it for Dukes, Justice, and users. Game 3 of day number 2. This is 9 of 12 here for the finals, and they came in with a 50-point lead today, and all of a sudden, they're heartbreaking watching. It is so heartbreaking watching it just slip away game after game here, struggle after struggle. Tabs, Pledge, and Teo are probably listening to those audio cues. Look at Tabs walking up here. He grabs the wall. They make the edit, and it seems like they're starting to clean up this fight.
That's what's so tough. You do not want to sit next to one team in the lobby that you don't want to eliminate you, because like you said, they're going to have the audio cues of them being tagged by Surge. We saw them being picked up, users then going down, which gives them those additional points, right? Duke's now just going to try to do whatever he can, hits that launch pad, fly through the air. I'm sure if he makes it down to the ground, he's lucky, but he just made it down when he's going to be picked up by, unfortunately, Voil, who has actually been popping off in this game, but Acorn, Slacks, and Jack now situated in such a good spot, 600 above the Storm Surge threshold here, looking so good going into the moving zones.
That's another team that falls right outside that top 17. Remember, that's that next threshold you absolutely want to be making it to round after round. So you're at least getting 8 points, right? Keeping you in the game, keeping you in the run. When you don't earn those big placement thresholds, that is it, right? Like, you are really setting yourself off pace here. Edgy, Sensitive, Commandment managed to make it on through. They are still up just next door. Remember, that's our third place team. So first and third are still up. Fourth, of course, being Acorn, Jack, and Slacks, still in this game now already. Continue to put the pressure here. It seems like they're sitting very far up above the Surge somehow, some way, because they barely have elims, but they're still in the game right now, which is phenomenal for them.
Good positioning, good tags is all it takes for some of these top teams. We're going to do a little check-in now to our third place team, Scented, Commandment, Edgy. 92 builds, just sitting right at the edge of Storm. Almost no room for them to work with. And we're going to have to see how they play this first moving zone here. Already finding the dead side. A great spot to pad on. No one blocking their heads. And this is what we normally like to see from Scented, Commandment, Edgy. Landing as far ahead as they possibly can. This is clinical play for them. But at the same time, he gets absolutely beamed out of the air. And there's a huge big drop-off. So Scented is going to take this opportunity. Not even as he lands to heal. He's going to build himself some space in for his team to ensure they are completely safe, and then they're going to heal up.
This is it. They're looking very cash-strapped right now. They're in big needs here. Scented has to pause down. Again, these are valuable seconds, guys. They are losing on rotating to the front side of zone, where you know, traditionally you see Scented, Commandment, and Edgy leading the rotates, not trailing behind here, trying to figure it out. Here comes the launch pad nice and early, trying to get to that front side. This is where we normally see them, and they're a lot higher than the usual as well, but hey, this is the safer layer for the time being. They all touch down one another. How can they begin to fight back here, find some elims, and continue to lead their way, push their way through this rotate right now? Because that is what's most important, is staying alive, staying in front. On the backside though, you saw Jack goes down to Larson. He's gonna get knocked there, and all of a sudden now competition starting to fall here. This is an opportunity for Scented, Commandment, and Edgy.
Yep, Scented just trying to do what he can with this low amount of wood just to tunnel his team in up ahead, as now Edgy's leading over the top. He has the hard materials. He's going to keep them in the game right now, but they're in an uncomfortable position for themselves. A cheap tarp in the middle of the storm with tons of teams on their layer. This is not their comfort zone. This is not where they thrive the best. They thrive the best down on that low ground positioning, popping off, applying any pressure we can, and look who's taken that slot, Pledge and Teo. But unfortunately, they've actually lost Tabs G in this match so far. So again, this is another opportunity for Scented, Commandment, and Edgy to pop off, as long as Pledge and Teo don't pop off themselves in this game. As you see extra materials up there, that's going to be hard mats. I think it's just Siphon. And yes, the big elimination comes through for Pledge as well, and that's actually onto Bizzle at the back of the storm. Some hard materials now. They're going to try and get ahead and claim this low ground.
Plenty of material now as Pledge starts to take over here and lead his way through this end game here. Acorn still up. Scented, Edgy, and Commandment found their way to low ground, and the fight's breaking out. Pledge and company trying to escape the grips of Scented, Edgy, and Commandment there. They do manage to get away. They jump up to another layer. Acorn, Slacks, and Jack are now officially out here, down to the hands of Skittles. Skittles is still alive there as well. Back with Scented though, Commandment, and Edgy. They have control of this low ground. Compact SMG is going to be so good down here to break through these builds, apply extra pressure, especially if he can keep it completely loaded. And this is where the points are starting to really rack up right now. They're earning everything that they need. Look at the thing shred. That Compact is so good. The pump's even better. Huge shot. Down goes Pledge. That's a big elimination. They have to catch Teo though. They have to catch Tabs G, who are still alive. They're still earning here.
Yep, Teo's getting the points in, and Scented, Commandment, and Edgy has to find him, has to pick him up in order to keep themselves flying up the leaderboards. Right now, 5 eliminations to their name. That's 10 points total for them down on the low ground. We see Teo at the back of the storm with no shields right behind them. He could sneak up right inside their tarp to do whatever he can, but slowly on the low ground, they're claiming space. They're playing pumps out. Their spacing is impeccable, immaculate, right next to each other. If anyone drops down into their box, they have 3 shotguns hit right into their face, and the eliminations go straight into the pocket of Scented, Commandment, and Edgy as they keep ahead of the storm right now. Kaz, Hoofishy on the layer above them. They're consistently looking up, trying to drop them down straight into their box, but Hoofishy and Kaz are doing a good job claiming ahead. And yet again, up on high ground, we see Chucky's team, and this is it. This is where it comes out from. Hoofishy is getting pressured from down below, but he's going to have to go back into the storm. This is going
Fishy, Aspect, and Cavs managed to really stretch this game out, make success of it. Down comes the edit. Dubs, Mega, Rocane. All of a sudden, they're inside the blender here, quite literally. Scented with a misplay. He throws a heal on accident. He switched to the wrong material, and all of a sudden, now Commandment has to clutch this one up. He is chasing him down. 2, 3 tags. Yes, it's enough to keep him alive, but steel sharpens steel. Down goes Commandment. It's up to Nut versus Rocane. They're the last players alive. The heals are going off, and they're on the hunt for one another. Rocane has a hunch, though. Has he managed to track him correctly? Hits the shot too, and down go Chucky and Nut there in the final moments, and somehow Rocane managed to clutch up here for Mega and Dubs in the end game, who by the way was edited down in an ambush play. Such a clean game right there for him to clutch up.
such a clean game there for them to catch up, but at the same time, not Chucky Omzo. 16 eliminations. 1-6 elimination in second, which was crazy. My favorite play, quite frankly, Scented, chucking a med kit right at the opponent, showing them, you can heal off, I'm not going to do it instead. Just, to be honest, a whirlwind of a crazy endgame when it came down straight into that 9th zone closing. And for Mega, Rocane, and Dubs to pick up the Victory Royale, with them being 11th at this end of day number 1, this is huge for them.
Yeah, you can just really tell the nerves are high, guys, on the stage right now. But game number 9 was a one for the books. Definitely a memorable game. We're going to toss down over to Des with Zeke and company. Crunch those numbers, guys. Give us those leaderboards.
Well, Monster, thankfully, I don't have to because I'm horrible at math. We have a team do that for us. You'll have to see it.
Really
wow. I like that these guys are kind of pointing out that a lot of these trios, there's a lot of chaos happening there, especially in the end game, but there's also a lot of pressure, right? We kind of saw some of this happening already in EU, right? Like, a lot of these mistakes you would assume aren't being made, but like right now, we're kind of at the tail end of the competition, right? This is finals, and if you want to be number one, you want to walk with acts of champions, you have to be calm, cool, and collected. But the truth is, nerves absolutely play a factor in this, Vivid.
Oh yeah, 100%, especially for a lot of these new teams. I talked about it a little bit earlier. Duke, Justice, and Users don't think they've been in a position where they have been leading an FNCS finals before. So today they have placed 28th, 18th, and 19th in each of the 3 games that we've had today. So not a good showing from them, but we know that they have the potential. Their day one, it was not anything too like crazy to not think that it can't happen again. They are there, but I just think like what you're talking about, the nerves are getting to them. So if they can switch it up, switch their mindset up a little bit, these last 3 games can be huge for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we talked about this yesterday, didn't we? The kind of the mindset of this all and being in this position it's different. Other teams have been there before, so that could be a major factor here. But let's take a look at the standings and see how things currently lie after that last game. We can see Tabs, Teo, and Pledge retain first position right now, 173 placement points, 54 eliminations, 281 points. Chaps, they've got a 40-something lead. That's Vivid's territory, maths. Zeke and I, we don't touch it. That's Vivid's territory. But still, like a substantial lead, almost what Dukes had yesterday going into day 2. So, things can change on a dime. That's exactly what's happened. We're going to take a look at one of our trios now, actually. Night Shark and Clarity, who we've seen actually in the first 2 games today got back-to-back victory royales. And it's good to see that these guys, obviously, they've been around for a long time, been around the block, and to see them have a great start. I think yesterday they finished up in 16th position with 98 points. Coming into today and suddenly back-to-back victory royales, really propelling themselves up the leaderboard here. And what we love to see is they have this great combination. They've got the ability, not necessarily eliminations aren't the strongest point, but a way of survival. Survival is always key for these boys, managing to find their way into that end zone, whatever the cost. And always, I think Vivid, in my personal opinion, managing to make a great case to get that victory royale, hence why they've done it twice already.
Yeah, they actually are our only team in the finals right now to have 2 victory royales. They're the only team that has done it twice over the games that we have played, and they did it back to back. So they didn't have a good game right there, the one that we were just watching. However, that does not mean that these last 3 games cannot be huge for them. And our spotlight is going to be going to none other than our leaders right now, Tabji, Teo, and Pledge. 20-point games. Wow, they have 9 20-point games. Adam, how many games have we played?
9 games.
Yeah, so
that's
all the games that they have played. Yeah, they've had 20-point games every single game that we have played. Elims versus top 10, 31. These guys are finding a lot of their eliminations in those final moments of the game in that top 10 scenario. Time without teammate, 137 seconds, which means that in just over 3.5 hours of gameplay that we have played over these 9 games, they've only spent just over 2 minutes. Not as a full trio. These guys are playing together like no other.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, I can do simple maths there, guys. I got it right to a degree. But you're absolutely right here. And, I love that stat going back to, the XSET guys and Clarity. I love that stat earlier on as well. I think we saw pop up that every time that Clarity is the tarper, they go from a 16th kind of average positioning to 8th position in the leaderboard, which is to show how vital it is when he is on point with those builds. So really excited to see what's going to happen next. We don't know, but 3 games left, fellas. Just 3 games left.
That's insane to think about, right? We just finished all the action over in Europe, and now after 3 games, we're going to crown another set of champions. Ridiculous. Once again, Fortnite fam, don't forget, watch.fortnite.com, another great way to watch. But with that being said, you guys heard the battle bus, which means we're jumping right back into all of the action. So we're going to kick it back over to MDF and Reese to take us in.
Just a couple more rounds left. Just a couple more rounds of Fortnite left here before we will crown our FNCS Finals champion of this season. Already things have gotten very, very interesting. We've seen the difference between, especially for Duke users, being uncontested today, having a struggle with Storm Surge. Sensitive Edgy and Commandment managed to find their footing again, right? And then, of course, the consistency from Tabs and his trio, just phenomenal all day long. And all these other teams, Reese, that have really risen to the occasion today. Dubs, Rookie, Mega, XSET, Shark Knight, Clarity G, right? Like, there's just a couple teams now that are showing greatness here today.
Yeah, absolutely on fire. In particular, obviously, the Exit Boys alongside Clary G. But, one team I want to highlight. Aspect, Kaz, Who Fishy. We've been seeing them a lot. Today in particular, right, they placed, I think, what was the last few games that they had? They ended up being 11th, 10th, and then 4th. Who Fishy himself donating 40% of his prize pool to charity for when he wins. So how can you not cheer on him? How can you not cheer on him when he's donating a lot of his money to charity? What a nice guy.
That's actually a great point, man. Shout out to the man. Listen, there's a lot of awesome folks here in the community. Who Fishy being for sure one of the few pillars of positivity this scene does have. So you love to see it. And you know what? Just for that, well, let's hope for Who Fishy top 3, baby. Let's go. Keep it up.
Yeah.
You know, he's on the way.
I'm going for it. Let's go.
At least, because look, he's only what's it, 30 points off of top 4, and then just a little bit beyond that, the final stretch. But right now, that 3rd place slot is being held onto by Slacks, Acorn, and hitters up at the top of the standing right now.
It's true indeed. And, Duke's Justice and Users, not having the biggest day so far either, so they could definitely drop out. And that potentially leaves a slot open for Aspect, Kaz, and Who Fishy do it, or some of the other teams. Realistically, Duke's Justice Users, I'm thinking, can they change it up, right? They had such a monumental day 1, but day number 2, can they turn it back on? Can they get back to their form from the previous day? And do you think that the first 3 games that they've had here are going to be a little bit of a deterrent for them, or are going to be down in the dumps?
I mean, I hope not, right? Like, it's been rough, but we talk about it, like, the difference. So the game does change from day to day, right? A day 1, only 6 games, right? That's it. You kind of get what you get from that, but then everyone gets to hit the drum board. Everyone gets to kind of review what they did right, what they did wrong, and sometimes it just comes down to a little bit of luck on the zone as well, right? Like, let's not forget Storm and where the Storms end are a huge factor in how you perform in the game. That last game in particular, we talked about what it would mean for Duke's Justice and Users to have the zone fall in their favor. They didn't do much with it, but you know who did? Commandment Sense and Edgy. They make another end game, make another splash here, a top 3, 7 elimination. So the first zone that sort of goes their way, they actually surprisingly managed to turn that whole thing around. And mind you, remember where they were positioned? In the lake, down in the water, right? Like, it looked like they were down bad.
Yeah, it didn't look like they're in the best spot for their surge in that moment, but they knew better than us. Look, they're one of the best teams, if not the best team on the region, the most consistent team, 100% hands down
by far.
And realistically, for a reason, right? The positions they put them in, sometimes I question them. Whenever you see these top level teams, you go, what are they doing there? But then it works out realistically, and it reminds me, it gives you an ego check to be like, look, these guys know what they're doing. They put themselves in these positions for a good reason.
Now, I hate to say it, but they are shaping themselves up for a fine second place right now. Like, they have to catch up to Tabs, right? G, Teo, and Pledge, who, when you look at the track record of what they've done in the last 2 days, they haven't placed outside of the top 11. They are basically the most sleeper trio we have seen in the last 2 days. And it's showing right now. That consistency is just bleeding through. Their preparation is pretty much there. And their strat, they figured it out day 1. It's working day 2.
Yeah, it's working better in day number 2. They've got 106 points today alone, which is absolutely insane. For Commandment, Sentinel, and Edgy, these guys have been 50 points behind a team at every moment, right? They were originally 50 points behind Duke Justice Users. Now they're that 50 points behind Tabs, G, Tail, and Pledge. So they can get a break from teams who are just performing, right? Who've just put their foot on the gas and are accelerating like nothing else. And for Commandment, Sentinel, and Edgy, we're going to have to see that come out. We're going to have to see the same thing we saw in the later half of day number 1, with that first as well. Credible 3 games in a row. We're starting to see that last game, 3rd with 7 eliminations, but with these 3 games left, they're gonna have to pull all out the stops.
Time to pull out the stops. Time to pull it all out here. Booga, Nosh, and Avery have managed to find themselves up here at the Steamy Stacks. What's going on right now? Is this just like hey, we're just gonna go ahead and throw our name in the hat? Let's just get into it. A couple games left. Let's have some fun with it. Maybe get some content out of this one. Otherwise, I don't know why they'd be here.
No, I know why they'd be here, because they have struggled with Storm Surge every single game today. They've been eliminated to Storm Surge 3 games in a row. They've gone from 3rd. Where are they now on the leaderboards? They are down in, I'm trying to figure out as we go, 10th, right? So they've dropped 6 placements, 3 games in a row being eliminated Storm Surge. I called this out before when I saw this happen, that they struggled in game number 1, and they have 3 contesting teams all the way around them. They have to be able to push, do something in one of these teams. They're being gifted Storm Surge from the 3 positions around them.
Or you could just pull a Shark Knight and Clarity, get a car, and drive right into the next team you see. Don't even hesitate. Jump out, take your shots, and look, it works. I mean, they get out, they get a couple tags, and they move on out. So, you know, a little madness to the strat here, but it ends up working out for Shark Knight and Clarity, who, you know, virtually untouched at this point. They do manage to just heal up here. Blake Scoped and Okis are probably thinking, like, what in the psycho? Like, what just happened, right? Like, what was this?
I mean, you got to remember, though, there's contestation. There's Voil's team, I think. I'm not sure if they've still been dropping here on the second day, but on day number 1, there was 2 teams landing here, so it was Blake's team. So for them, just to grab that car and push on up, like, that's an opportunity to get Storm Surge on 2 teams who probably aren't the healthiest at that moment. So again, very similar to what we just saw with Booga, with them pushing on into Steamy Stacks. They're looking to take a fight on these contested teams who are around them, and that's basically one of the best ways to get your Storm Surge in these lobbies, because a couple 20 tags, a couple 30 tags to your AR just aren't going to cut it in this quality of lobby.
Now, here's a play I actually really love from Rokane, Dubs, and Mega. This is a very notorious hill for Storm Surge, and we haven't really seen them rotate to this spot early, like ever, right? To focus on Pleasant Park teams, and it looks like they're just taking one out of the classic book of trios in the past here. I can't put my finger on who was the trio that would always do this play here, but definitely a play that would work out.
On any East, I'm not sure, but for Aqua, Noah, Rayleigh, and Vidil, this is the spot that they set up very, very frequently on the EU side of things, and it's worked out for them the majority of times, because the sightlands, if they have a north zone, so many teams are funneled underneath them coming through Boney Burbs, because Boney Burbs becomes contested. There's so many teams. There's so much congestion. Do you remember the game yesterday? I think it may have been game 3, where we saw Saf's teams being picked up here, right? When we saw that kind of north zone where they were getting pressured inside of Boney. If they had positioned themselves here instead, they've visioned the 360-degree angles on all of the power spots. Like you can see right there, onto Risky Reels, a really common spot for teams to set up. Hold on, Mega's nearly been taken out by a snipe as he goes at the same time. But anyway, the positions that you're able to get from this spot are 360 degrees. So good through the most common rotation paths.
I mean, you're watching it right here. The drone shot really opening this up for us. And look at this. The markers coming out. They're looking at bases in the distance as well. Wood walls over there as teams are trying to conserve mats. So a lot of opportunity here is definitely presenting themselves to this position, like I said, that wasn't really available before at their home of Boney Burbs. Now, I do wonder, right? I do wonder. And you know, you brought up Aqua, Noah Riley, right? Did they go to the EU VODs, right? Just like, hold up.
Maybe.
How are they at the top of the standings, right? Because they had a phenomenal run today. Like Aqua and crew, they were running house for a little bit.
Yeah, well, in particular, yesterday they were doing the best, right? They were doing so well then. Day 2, not as great, right? They had some big games, 100%, but in comparison to their day number 1, I think where they were second at the end, they would be silly not to just go into the VODs for Mega and just be like, right, what were these guys doing? Even for the small things, right? Yeah, if you're ever looking at your draw spot and you don't know, like, man, I need a good surge strat, you just look at the other teams, other regions, the best of the best who are doing it from your spots, and you can just mimic exactly that.
That's crazy. I didn't really ever think about that, but I feel like we're taking it to a whole new level right now as far as strategy and research goes. But yeah, listen, it's clear to us that something is different here in the play because they never position up here. So this is really awesome to watch them trying to make this spot work out. And look, we're seeing much more activity from them that we've seen, honestly, ever in these kind of early game situations. Look, another team's going to go and reveal themselves here. It's Colazo and crew. They're in a vehicle. Oh, no, just a little missed time, though. They could have gotten a lot of shots off on them and honestly put them in an even worse spot. Colazo loses all shield here. That might have been a crack from the hands of Mega there. Look at this. Nope. Duke uses in Pledge trying to get back into this.
I was just thinking, though, imagine if Mega, Dubs, and Rokane now go down to Storm Surge after we've hyped them up so much. Imagine the scenes.
I have a reputation, people, right? You know, you stay alive, you look good out there. Continue to do good.
I'm cut off my mic. It's over. But see, this is what I mean, though. Like, because this is a north pulling zone, look at how many teams are now near Boney, right? This is the exact reason why they situate themselves in that spot, because they have just ability to hold everyone that starts to rotate through here. Remember their previous positions in the previous weeks? They were situated in that main, not on high ground, because they continually got ramped over, right? They just kept trying to replace it out. It didn't work out at all. They've adapted. They've learned. They put themselves into a very, very good position. Kind of, honestly, unlike Justice, Dukes, Jukes and users. This is not what we've seen from them in the previous games. They, in the previous day, put themselves deeper into the storm and got themselves in such a good spot. But for Canada, Saf and Stretch, we just keep seeing things we've seen before and then not, and before again. But for them, sitting themselves one inside the bush for Saf, this is always what they try to do. One player inside the bush, so they've got 360-degree vision with the other two sitting inside boxes. But do they know that Justice, Users, and Jukes is doing the exact same thing right next to them?
Probably not. I mean, Justice, Users, and Dukes did get there a little bit earlier, so that is something that they have to, the benefit over. But one thing I do want to talk about for Saf, Kanata, and Stretch, they're having a much better day today. Granted, not the greatest games they're probably looking for because their elims were a little low in the first game, picking up that 13th place, but a 4th with 7 eliminations, then that 12th with 2 is not too bad. Much better than yesterday's surge performance that they were really struggling with in game 2, 5, and 6, right? So today, a much better Saf, Kanata, and Stretch. The cards are still on the table here for them to go out and sweep their way on up. Like I said, any of these teams inside the top 9 do have a fighting chance to catch up to at least top 3 now. Granted, if first, second, and third don't just break away with phenomenal games here in the last stretch.
Yeah, and from Saf, Canada, and Stretch, they were actually the team who had the lowest amount of average eliminations in their qualifying runs. So if we're looking for them to have big pop-off games, it's the least likely, I think, out of any other team. However, the let's be real, it wouldn't be a day without seeing them on height and dominating.
Yeah, definitely. But the thing is, our top 3 teams are averaging just around 5+ eliminations. The teams outside of that bubble are around 3 or so. So it kind of just shows you that teams really have to step it up in these last 3 games. The final pool here, if they want to take over the teams that are just on a rampage right now, who, by the way, not far behind are Who Fishy, Aspect, and Kaz here, who've just been playing very exceptional Fortnite today. There goes the zone pool. It's going to kind of go in their direction here. This is going to favor the likes of Saf, Kanata, Stretch, Users, Duke, right? We knew they were not too far off from there. So everyone on this western side, close to that bubble to the center, are going to have a pretty decent and okay time rotating right now.
Yeah, this next zone's tough because there's a big valley in the middle, essentially, with 2 hills on the outside, so anyone who goes down that center is going to be in a tough spot. But hold on a minute, Who Fishy hits 2 body shots onto Taikzu as well, alongside Moo's team, who've been having a very tough day today. If they got off spawn, struggling with Storm Surge, and the exact same thing's happening yet again right here. And this is free fish food for Who Fishy, as he just going to get plenty of sprays. They're going to play aggressive, they're going to get in, they're going to take advantage of the fact that that other team was struggling so much with Surge and pick up very free eliminations.
Gabe, Tahi, and Sprite rotate on through. They hear the noise happening there, but they're like, no, your vehicle means more to us. They take the car and they're out. They're going to go to get to the zone. Little yoink right there for Aspect and Kaz. They're not going to have that mobility anymore. Here's our fallen champs of the season right now. Day, Miro, and Reverse 2K, who have really been having a tough time in the 2-day format right now. A little underprepared for the weekend, but you know what? They've had some great moments here nonetheless. And now a big fight breaking out between Booga, Avery, Nosh here, who, again, this game don't have issues with Surge, right? Adjusted the strat to go on up to steamy stacks, but now versus 2K, Miro, and Day, probably not the same that we can say for them, right? They might just need this fight here.
You know, when I'm looking at their match history, out of the 9 games that they've played, they have been eliminated between 13th and 17th, so first moving zone, in 6 of the games. Sorry, 7 of the games. 7 of the games they've gone down first moving zone, and the other 2 they've gone down to Storm Surge. So from a veteran team, a team that's won 2 FNCS finals, they placed 4th in another. Like, this is definitely a showing for them that shows that they are underperforming, that they're under practiced as well. Not even getting a single game into the top 10 is really tough to see, and it's definitely got to be tough on their mentality too. They're dominant in cash cups, they're dominant when it comes to other FNCSs, but now when it comes to this kind of format, they just clearly haven't practiced like they have in the other seasons, and it's just not paying off for them.
Yeah, it's really showing right now. The struggle starting to kick in, but hope is still there for teams to go and hop on up. Right now, Miro, Reverse 2K, and Day are holding a top 25, so, you know, kind of towards the bottom of the barrel here, and off the elim mark that we normally and traditionally do tend to see them at. Miro, Dan, Reverse 2K, still though, very deadly trio. This could spell trouble. This could spell disaster for a team like Aspect, Fishy, and Cast, who do have that firepower. They have what it takes to hold their own, but You never really know with these top trios, right? Especially those that are at the what I like to call the upper elite level. Those FNCS champion worthy trios like Miro versus UK and Day here. They can really, they have that against any caliber of lobby and shut things down.
And what's scary about them is the fact that when they fight you, it's over fast. It's over before you even know when it started, right? Like one of the members of the team, like Aspect, Kaz, and Hoofishy, can just be picked up before they've even understood what's going on. You can see that right now. They're trying to set the trap. They're looking out for their prey. See Miro looking through the cone, reverse 2K and Day down below staring up.
I was going to say, for all we know, this could be a sign to go for him. He's like, hey, they don't even have a cone up here. Like, let's do this, right? You know, like, you never know. You never really know what's going to tick off Miro or Day here to jump on in. Wood walls? Oh, yeah. That's a sign to get in. That's
wood
one
walls
sign.
And he's in.
We were wondering what it takes. You know, no cone, wood walls. Yeah, we're going in.
We're going straight, and Miro's inside the box. The AR spray only.
Oh, man.
Is that all three players picked up? I think a snipe shot actually came through at the exact same moment. Day has also been picked up now. The fire starts to come through. I think that was from a gas can at the same moment too, but I think they're going to be able to get the res off there. That was one of the fastest eliminations a full trio wipe, as I already mentioned, would happen, right? As soon as it starts, it's over so quickly. And yes, the third party spraying from afar definitely helped, but it was the speed, the pressure that they applied by just jumping straight in before Hoofishy could even understand what was going on, which netted them capped materials from now on with a launch pad too.
And that's the thing. You give Miro, Day, or Reverse a little too much time to plot against you, and it's over. They're going to make a strategy. They're going to have a game plan that's probably going to have a high success rate. You watch it unfold right there. Out comes the lobby pressure as they try to make this rotate. They're so close to getting on in. They do have enough mats to go ahead and commit to this, but look at this. They're just opened up to 4 different trio sight lines right now, and more on the mountain. I lied. It's like 6 or 7 here. This is a lobby focus if you've ever seen it. Oh, are they going to make it?
Not sure. All of them almost 1 HP. Reverse goes down out of the sky, but no, he may be able to get picked up, but that focus is going to come in from all of the lobby. Day now picked up to Miro, left on almost 10 HP as he's got 2 knocks in his box. The extra materials will be there if those finishes come off, but he's got to try and do something. Got to try to be able to get the res off if he can stop this unrelenting pressure from almost the entire lobby, but I just don't see it happening. There's no reason for them to stop spraying unless they just happen to run out of ammunition right now, but Miro actually may have an opportunity to do so.
You know,
I could be biting my tongue.
I was like, he's got enough heavy mats to like bluff out these opponents, right? Like, that's the real telltale sign. Like, does he switch to wood? Man, he's still on brick. No, we got him soon, right? Like, he's still on brick. Like, wait a second. He went through all of his metal and all of his brick, but that 1,000 material was enough to, again, just bluff out the team, right? Bluff out the opponents and have them second guess the fact that, wait, are there 2 people up here? Or like, what's going on right now?
But now they're only 8 above the Storm Surge damage. It is active. If these players start to go down, we're going to start to see them probably be underneath. Miro is now trying to get some tags as he goes at the same time, but there's not that many players in his sight lines. They've all managed to be raised. The shields have been popped, but all 3 of the members are on 125 HP. The tags come on out. They're now 95 above. 6 more players need to go down to the Storm. They seem to have the minis to keep themselves in it, but again, I don't think 95 above will be enough. If we see one of the teams that's above them on the Storm Surge leaderboard go down, we're going to see them go down below, but it seems like that has not happened. They are 156 above. They should be okay for these next 3 players to go down, and now they've launch padded deep into this 5th zone too, so they're going to be almost on that dead side, so they should have a relatively free next rotate, as they've also just conveniently landed on some hard materials.
I was going to say, you just found metal in the bush, by the way, that was left over from who knows who. P-God, TK, and Peterbot are going to be one of the trios that are based up next to them, but man, what a comeback for Daymiro and Versuke to just all of a sudden be back in the game like they never were, nearly just eliminated, taken out in completion there, but you know, they're struggling now. They're going to have to jump on another team. Next victim, potentially here, could be Saf, Stretch, and Kanata. That's a trio that's just right next door. Now, mind you, they are going to need a refresher, so we're going to see who they decide to go ahead and fight here. As we swing over to the other side, Gabe, Taggy, and Sprite still up right now as well. Who else is in this game here? I see Edgy and Commandment. Only 2, though.
Ooh, that could be tough for them. Maybe the camera just didn't pan and give us a full spread to see if we could see them there. Don't see Scented up at that moment. At the same time, Jukes still in this one as well as a full trio. They've finally managed to make it past the Storm Surge as they're getting fully ramped by Miro. It seems like Miro in reverse maybe going for high ground or just for a full play or a rotate. No, they're just trying to get ahead of the Storm right now. But Jukes, Users, and Justice, 4 eliminations to the name, 1,000 above the Storm Surge damage. Finally, we're starting to see them in top form.
Is this it? Is this their time to come back? Is this where they all of a sudden swing things back into their favor, take first place, and don't let it go? I mean, what we saw from them yesterday was just exceptional play here, especially when it came down to their end game, top 10, round after round. They didn't drop a single beat here. Let's see, though. They're making this rotate. They're doing a great job here staying in front, but you notice other teams have this same exact strategy in mind. That's why Reverse 2K, Miro, and Day were swinging around the front. That's where normally you'd see Scented, Edge, and Commandment, but there's no Scented here right now from what we can tell. Reverse 2K is going to find Gabe there in the feed. Scope onto Fatch. Skittles is going to go down to Dictating. That's the high ground team putting pressure. Miro finds Calazo as well. So Miro, Day, and Reverse 2K are popping off right now at 5 eliminations. Mega Dubs and Rokane still alive here. They end up giving up the high ground to Wrigley and Dictating, and now they're on the low ground here, so they might be clashing up here against Duke's Users and Justice.
It might be all 3 teams that we're spectating currently on that low ground position. You got to think Scented, Commandment, Edge probably around that same layer too. Jukes has changed that layer, got themselves up a little bit higher. They're still as a full trio up at the top here, still with capabilities of applying that pressure too. But Miro now 5 eliminations on today, 2 eliminations onto Miro, and going for more, but he's going to be traded up instead. So it's going to be up to Day to see if he can apply that pressure, hit those shots back in return, and they might even be able to get the res off. They're not going to go for it at all. Reverse is going to start leading Day in, tunneling him, setting himself up into positions to get as many shots as he can. But no, there's a player in the back. The Mongrel Classic comes out. He manages to dip outside of the box, but only 62 HP remaining, but a lucky zone pull will pull back to him and give him time to breathe.
And just a great read right there to go ahead and turn around and actually just had a chunky shotgun shot right there to go and keep him safe in the game here. And that's Kanata, Saf, and Stretch who are just down below. Reverse 2K has to make a decision here. Stay on the level, burn these materials, or go down and face a full-on trio. I mean, decision's pretty simple here. Stay on the level, don't give it up, but they're going to be moving into Rokane, Dubs, and Mega soon, who are just in front here. So either way, a clash is going to happen. There's a silhouette. You can see behind the wall. Here they are. But Mega looking on the wrong layer here, almost drops his guard there and nearly gets taken out, but no, they end up giving up this grounds here, and they're still alive at the moment. Reverse 2K finds a full trio. Sprite, Tahi go down there in the feed. Reverse does find what he was looking for. Mega finds the refresher here. We're officially inside the top 8. As Justice finds Reverse 2K. Huge elim for him. Day's by himself now. That same layer. No, big shot there. Down goes Blake. Great points for him here. 6 already for his own individual elims.
6 for himself. He's sneaking, he's slinking around the back of the Storm. He's tagging a little bit of shot. He managed to have that chug cannon at the back there, keeping him in it, but with such low HP, he's gonna have to try and do anything. One single shot from any AR, from basically any shotgun will take him out, but he has the materials, so he's gonna cover his top. He's gonna cover his bottom, but he is on that second height, and that pressure is gonna start to come out from the top. A player's onto his wall, but no, he manages to block it off. He goes out, he goes for the shot. No, he manages to yet again disengage, get back out, but again he's playing so careful, so fast. The player goes through from the other side of the wall, but no, he's out, and it's P-God who picks Day up.
Oh, that was filthy right there. He was almost quick enough to do it. You saw the technique, the high-level play coming in, but P-God still so nimble. He's going to jump down a couple more layers. He's alive here. He's in a game, but the story is for Dukes, Users, and Justice, who finally managed to make an end game here on day number 2. Dukes comes down. Huge shot, but it's a miss. It's not enough. User with a huge follow-up. Can he get this last one? This is important. It could be everything, but it's not the finish he was looking for. Saf does not manage to be enough here, but Agers on high ground with DJ and Skittles pull out a victory royale in the final moments.
In a classic high ground playstyle from DJ, Agers, and Skittles, in this next game, we have seen what is normally their playstyle, right? They just go up, they take it early on, and they dominate from high ground. We haven't seen too much of that from them. We've seen them a lot more on the mid layers, getting a bunch of eliminations, or just games where they flop a little bit more. But from Jukes, Justice, and Users, let's be real. That is one of the games that we've been looking for. Potentially a choke. I think they ran out of materials, which is why they took so much fall damage there. But at the same time, 8 elims and third. This is finally the game that they've been needing to propel them back up the leaderboards.
Big game. Another top 10 team takes a victory, guys, and we'll see how that ends up. Shaking up here in just a little bit. So we're going to toss on over to the desk. Zeke, what you got for us?
First off, MDF, let me just say, you look awesome today. Good stuff, man. Okay, game number 10 did not disappoint. I don't know what NA East is doing today, but literally everyone at the top is just constantly fighting. It's not even about like, hey, where can we go to find these other eliminations to kind of help buffer us? No. The top 10 are like, hey, we're just going to start taking each other out because that's what we need to do to win. And that's what I like. But they're correct. Though the victory royale does go over to DJ and Agers and Skittles, the bigger story here is Dukes and company. Remember, yeah. Dropped to second, and now with this game, Vivid, I don't know, man. They very well could be in first place.
Yeah, that was a huge game for them right now. No, Teo, Tabsy, and Pledge, they still hold on, but as you guys can see, there is going to be a battle over the top 3 right here, right? It was a bad game from TabsG as they only got 21st, and then Scented Edge and Commandment that game only ended up getting up 13th, both of them getting 0 elim. So perfect opportunity for Justice, Dukes, and Users to have a good game and kind of put themselves in that running again. As you guys can see here, the top 3 is really, really close.
Yeah, 11 points. This is so tight with only 2 games to play, fellas. Unbelievable. But yeah, Dukes, Justice, and Users absolutely had to come through in that game, and they did. They've given us a real opportunity here, which is absolutely incredible. We also have the likes of DJ and Agents and Skittles, who were in 6th position there, and now go up to 4th position, so they're looking really exciting as well here. But you know, what I'm liking about this table is that even though we've only got 2 games to play, there are still a lot of teams in that 200-point bracket right now who still have every opportunity to propel themselves up towards the Axe of Champions. I'm excited about this. I know you boys are too, but it's looking mighty, mighty interesting indeed, Vivid.
Yeah, and what was crazy about that game was Sav, Kanata, and Shredge were actually found on the low ground, getting 2nd place from the low ground, which was absolutely crazy because those guys love the high ground. So to see them down there picking up some good placement points is a sight to see.
It is, yeah. I mean, we look at the 11th through 20th position here as well now. I can see the likes of, Gabe Trahi and Sprite there. I mean, Dame Mirror and Reverse 2K having, I think we're in 26th position, had not finished above 19th this entire competition, which is unheard of having last season's FNCS champions there. But suddenly they're in 13th now, having a whopping great amount of eliminations that last game, getting themselves into a position now where they could enter the top 10 with 2 games to go. They need more of that. We need to see more of that, fellas. Come on, they're my prediction. Come on. We've also got the likes of Bully, Chrisix, Bankteller. Obviously, yesterday we talked about these guys as well, who weren't doing particularly well, obviously being a third-party left, right, and centre in Steamy, but now they're in 14th position. So a lot of teams who didn't have a great day 1 are having a much better day number 2. I know there's a trio you want to focus on here as well, Vivid, who is exciting, and I think it's Mega and Rokane have particularly caught your attention.
Yeah, so I pretty much wanted to just highlight how that these guys are playing their endgame, right, and why they are so good. So Rokane here is going to be expanding his Tarb, and his trio mates here, Mega and Dubs, are going to be getting into a fight. Over here you can see this wall is breaking because they are getting pressed on this wall, right? But Rokane doesn't go back to help them. He actually starts to break this wall right here, so that way he can get a separate angle on the fight, and as you can see here, it works out beautifully. Bully kind of oversteps, kind of steps into this box that Mega, Dubs, and Rokane have control over, and the only reason they have control over is because of piece control. So great hindsight from Rokane here, getting a different angle on the fight. Now, another thing that I wanted to point out here was that Mega is so smart. Look at this. This floor right here, if you guys are paying attention, you can see that it just got placed because it's building. If this floor just got placed, that means that there is a player up here, right? And then Mega knows that he has piece control over here up on this cone. This is incredible. This is one of my favorite things I've ever seen. Mega basically grabs the edits on this floor and this cone up here, right? Because he knows that there is a player up there because he saw that floor build. And watch this. When he grabs the edit on the cone, he can see a little sliver of the player through that cone edit come right through. So he makes the edit, drops the player down, and finds the elimination.
Amazing. Amazing.
Only Vivid has eyes like that. He has special eyes, okay? That's how he was able to capture that. Fortnite fam, we're getting ready to jump back into the action. We heard the battle bus, which means we're jumping into game number 11. Only 2 more games before we crown another set of champions. So buckle up! We're going back on the battle bus. MDF, Reese, back over to you.
Here we have it. Just 2 more games left, Reese. It's time to start, decking up the cards here, playing the right hands, because the opportunities to bring it on home is starting to run out. But we do have ourselves a competition up at the top. You saw how close it is, just a couple points separating our first, second, and third teams. And if the games continue to be as consistent as they have been for a lot of these trios, I mean, our final game, it's going to be pretty ridiculous.
It's going to be pretty crazy. We have to keep an eye out in the elimination feed for Tabs G, Teo, and Pledge to see if they go down early. If they get a 0-point game in here, for Dukes, Justice, Users, the same thing, and for Commandment, Sent, and Neji. If any of these 3 teams go down, it opens up the field for any of the teams 4th and below to really, really catch up. And if Tabs, GTO, Pledge, or any of the other 2 teams that we mentioned there, the current top 3, managed to maintain a good amount of points, 20-ish points every single game, it's going to be tough for anyone else to win. It could be it.
Yeah, that might be it. If it's like a 20-point game for, I'd say Tabs, G, Teo, and Pledge, and Dukes, Justice, Users, or Commandments and Edgy don't match that energy. Like that might be it. Like, our top 5 teams are really going to have a great game this game, or their tournament might be over. There's no more room for error.
No, when 10 games are done, 2 games are left, there's only so much you can do. There's only so many points that you can accrue in 2 single matches. 2 single victory royales alone will be 60 points. Add the eliminations onto that. So for some of the teams like Saf, Canada, and Stretch, who are currently in 6th, who are already 66 points behind, man, that's a tough one to go for first, right? 6th place is incredibly good. They're going to be definitely playing for a top 3 unless we see some crazy turn of events from Tabs, GTO, and Pledge, who we already know have only had 1 bad game, and that was their last game that they just played.
Majors, DJ, and Skittles, though, 104 points. 104 points on the day. What a good day for them so far. It's great games, being consistent, staying hot on the heels of the opponents here. I do wonder, as this one starts to conclude, when it's all said and done, where are these teams going to end up? They're in 4th right now. All right, they're in 4th.
I want to know. They are indeed. So they're currently in 4th, 235 points. So 51 points behind currently in 1st. However, only 16 points behind 3rd place. So they definitely have a potential to overtake Commandment, Sent, and Neji, as Commandment, Sent, and Neji's last game, 13th, 0 eliminations. Very uncharacteristic for them indeed. So we've got to keep an eye out for these teams in 4th and 3rd. And obviously Aspect, Kaz, and Hoofishy, who are very, very close behind, also in 5th place. And it really could go down to any of these who's going to be going in that top 3. And remember, for anyone who's remembering this, top 3 will auto-qualify you through to the finals. But look over to Ager's team again, getting into this engagement that we've seen them hype up so much against Colazzo's trio.
The thing is, we just watched them. They were, cruising nice and pretty down the sunny street here, and all of a sudden, turmoil on the horizon right now. Colazzo on top, holding this high ground. They have them pretty much on a defensive stance right here because, well, why would DJ Agers and Skittles want to throw away this game right now? Obviously, they were tagged up first. They're by all means doing the right play right now by waiting to see if Colazzo, Lazar, Trashy come down and make an error here, right? Reveal themselves. Colazzo could be the first one to get targeted. We'll see who they decide to jump on.
Yeah, and we know TG's team doesn't have that many materials. However, Colazzo's team did manage to get that llama already. So yes, he's completely out. We know the other team has a ton of materials left, so Agers is going to have to try and get up in his face. But no, all 3 of them are just going to jump straight into the car and try to make a getaway. But no, Agers is tagged up big time.
No way.
TGN is only taking 50 damage, but that car is really, really weak as well. And if this blows up right now, that could completely take out Agers. But yes, it's a Need for Speed style getaway, and they are out of it. Let's go.
How in the world did they just survive that? And they didn't even lose a single tire, by the way, so the car still has some decent health here. They're alive. They make it out. That was a getaway. That's what Fortnite's all about right there, isn't it?
You got to think, are they going to be chased, though? I can see the names over there.
Oh, no.
And it's Damiro Reverse.
No.
The one team you probably do not to pull up you, but I don't know if they've even noticed yet. They must hide. You guys have to hide behind this. Cover your line of sights. And Damiro Reverse have gone past, completely oblivious to the fact that DJ, Agers, and Skittles are here at the edge of the map with nothing. No materials to work with. This would be the freest 6 points that they could ever have if they roll on through here right now. But no, they've not managed to spot them.
mind you, Reverse Decay Damiro, they rotate out quick for a fight. So, like, that is quite literally what they're looking for. Yes, they are looking for a fight. And, man, I hope you guys, you can breathe now, all right? If you were holding your breath, it's okay. They survived. That was insane. Just, you know, near Elim experience, if you will. Back to back.
100%, 100% for them, right? That's going to be big. And remember, because they are currently in 4th place, that could have thrown, honestly, if they went down there the whole tournament, if they clutch up a big game in this, that, remember, the fact that Damir Reverse just drove by and didn't see them is indeed legendary.
That would be so crazy. This you could make a whole montage out of this one single game here, how quickly things just could have crumbled for them. So, all right. Now we got something to root for. Agers, Degen, and Skittles here, whether or not they can actually bounce back here, pull a victory. Now, if they do, there'll be another team to go back-to-back today. So, guys, mind you, this is a very tough ask we're putting on the table here. So, you know, bear with us. We're asking for the near impossible, but it is possible. They're still alive.
It is indeed, and this is the remnants of what we saw. This is where Damir and Reverse were headed. This is the destination they had on their GPS in that car, and they were pushing into this fight that we've seen so many times, but it seems like they're not looking to take it. This fight has obviously gone on a long time between Bank Teller's team going against Clix's team here. They're not looking to see if they've cleaned up any remnants. We saw on the map that there was a singular player at least up to the north, but they're just going to get on out here. And what I can see is that neither of these teams have actually been eliminated so far in this game, so unsure where they are. It seems like they may have disengaged, but they didn't disengage past Damir in Reverse.
Yeah, they were just a little too late to get to the steamy stacks here and try to find the fight. I was about to call it the Kevolution Energy. I was like, huh? Wait a second. No, yeah, you know, the steamy stacks powered by Kev, you know?
There you go.
You see it. I see the vibes.
I saw there was a DreamHack question. The only time I ever saw. What was the name of the steamy stacks? What's it called? And I remember on that day I'd played Soul Arena, walked past and read that sign, and I've been dropping at that drop spot for 7 seasons, and I was like, oh, this place is called the Kevolution Energy.
Oh my gosh, that's actually incredible. Little things like that, little Easter eggs inside the Fortnite world. Yeah, look around, man. The art team's got some cool stuff planted everywhere.
100%, 100%.
Brocane, Mega Dove's back in a new position now. Hey, they're just trying everything, aren't they? They went south this time.
Yeah, and actually one of the things that's cool is you can see that Weeping Woods, like, because of the trees that have been just completely ripped out, right? You can see the fire damage that's caused them to knock all the way down. One gas can or a couple fireflies, because the trees are so close to each other, just wipes out basically this whole area. So if you want to rotate through here, if the trees are there, great, your sightlines are covered. But if you want to get Storm Surge tags, those trees cover every single player trying to rotate in. So if you're Dubs, Rocane, and Mega, and you want to get tags, you just burn down this area using potentially the fireflies or the gas cans, and it just opens up so many more of your sightlines. But again, it's a tough place to get tags on because of the hills. There's still a lot of ways that your sightlines are blocked in there too, so we'll see how that Storm Surge strategy plays out for them.
Yeah, definitely. It might work out though. You saw right there, they caught a couple tags onto Acorn, Jack, and Slacks, who are just rotating up from the steamy kind of area there. Night Shark and Clarity have already done their bum rush into the Holly Hatchery for a fight as well. You can see they're looking to get out. They've been using this whole use a vehicle, hop on a team strat. It's been working out for them so far today. Aspect, Who Fishy, and Kaz on the other side playing deep zone right now. Slow and steady.
I'm trying to figure out what the play is from here. Why they've ended up so deep. I mean, they have really good loot. 127 builds on Aspect as well. Potentially they're trying to keep their distance from a specific team that we saw was close by, but maybe a storm fight ensued because they seem to know something that we don't, that maybe in Believers Beach there's a team roaming around deep in there that they're looking to get tags on, that they're going to hold down in Storm, but I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing any names pop up. I'm not seeing anyone on the map. Oh, there they are. Now they're starting to come in. Okay, Aspect, I think, has spotted them. However, yes, the sniper's out. He's going to try and look down long range, see if he can get anything through. But I don't know if this is going to be worth it, because the longer they wait here, the longer they're going to have to rotate, and the more teams are going to be situated on edge to hold them.
Yeah, and the other thing is, you know, how active have they been? How many fights have they gotten into, right? Like, they might have survived this first kind of surge situation, but, you know, the game's going to continue to roll on. I think it's worth noting that this lobby here is finally, you know, one of the lighter ones, I guess, right? 79 players up, but, yeah, up until this point, you have had just stacker after stacker, round after round. And actually, look, a person was rebooted, so we're back up to 80. just as I was kind of mentioning the lightness of the lobby, no, they're going to surely keep that number right back up. Yep.
I mean, outside of game number 3 yesterday, that was madness. I couldn't even cast half of that game. I was just looking at the player count thinking, how is there 65 players up per zone?
I'm not gonna lie, I was a little worried. I was like, wait, is this gonna be the first ever W key FNCS? Like, is this what we've come to?
East?
Like, is this what we've come to? But no, things got back on track, you know, intensity was, you know, put back where it needed to be.
Yeah, those players are just adapting to the crazy stackness that was game 1 and game 2, though. And then I think it gets kind of slowed down, right? Most of the Storm Surge has been roughly around 80 players. The level of stackness has been relatively similar in the majority of games. The teams who are taking fights in every other match as well. So, you know, necessarily the games haven't changed that much going on to this day as well. But for Koofishy, Kaz, and Aspect, that question has been answered. How much have they done? And they've done 95 above.
Oh, look at this. Fishy finishes fights in average of 54 seconds, fastest in NA East.
Wow.
And you know, Miro's close behind that for sure. We saw what he did earlier today. That's just hands down.
54.1.
Right.
I thought it would have been Damir Reverse if, as a trio, at least would have taken that tick box for that one. But potentially as the solo, this has got it. But hold on, they're starting to rotate into Tail, Tabs G, and Pledge, who are actually in a fight with Gabe, Tahi, and Sprite at the same time on this Edge of Storm, and Fishy's team potentially might make this faster than 54 seconds.
We're watching a huge engagement right here, and look, they're not even looking to jump in. They're just going to fire at these weak and fresh builds from the side. This is going to really entice the other team on the other side to go ahead and get inside. It looks like Teo and Pledge are in the better position. They're on the backside of these walls, but do they own them? How much control do they have here? And they need the surge, so yes, this is going to be a pleasure for Pledge now. If he can find his shots, but no, he gets punished pretty big there. He's got to be careful and look for a new angle. Come down, slow down, and start healing. 40 seconds. They have plenty of time to find these tags here, but they need to do it now while they have the attention of Fishy shooting these builds.
He does need to do something. Pledge, the one that's closest to him. Tabs G is on that side, but Teo is keeping his distance, but potentially going out over the top, and maybe he can get a shot through into Aspect, Kaz, and Fishy and spray back before they even notice. That may be their best opportunity, but no, it seems like Pledge is going to get in, get close, go for a box fight instead, potentially go for some tops as he builds as much space as possible. Yes. Look, he's going for it. He's waiting for them to start spraying. He's taking his sniper out. He's looking. He built all the way around here to get this angle. They're going to heal up. Now, every second that passes, they're going more and more below as they haven't managed to get a single tag so far. This is going to be a 200-0 if they want to be able to manage to get actually above the threshold as they go for this wall. Now, 2 players on the same wall, but Pledge, shot traded back to him, down to HP at this point. He's still trying to get in with this low HP. ADS out, but no, the Storm Surge will pick him up. Teo now also knocked. Tabs G alive left as a solo in the game, trying to out-heal this. 5 more players need to be going down, and 231 below. I think Tabs at this point is just trying to do what he can to out-heal the Storm Surge, whereas Sprite's team, with 6 eliminations total right now, are looking to be in a commanding spot in this fight alone.
And they're 1,000 damage above here. Ty's going to step up here. He wants to take a swing at that. Tabs G on the run right now. He's got to hit some shots, though. We already know these 3 medkits can definitely help him in this kind of spot, but he doesn't have the time to sit down and actually use them. And that is wraps for our #1 team coming into game 11. Tabs G, Teo, and Pledge fall to the Storm Surge for what might be the second time today, because they did just get taken out in 21st right before this. So these are 2 games back to back now where trouble is starting to set in paradise here, and the standings are open. They're open once again for Duke's Justin users to take their spot back in #1, or Commandment Sense and the Edgy to jump up.
I said at the start of this game, the teams in the top, in particular when it came to Tabs G, Teo, and Pledge, cannot, and I mean cannot, have 0-point games. For that, right there, a 0-point game. And the game before that for them, I think was, what, a 5-point game? Let me just check. Yes, a 5-point game. So it's 5 points across the last 2 games to them. You've got to think that for Tabs G, Teo, and Pledge, that the nerves are starting to set in. The potential idea, the thought that they could be FNCS champions, maybe getting to them too much in the later half of day #2.
It could begin to slip away here, but they still have a whole game in front of them. Their most important game of the season is coming up. So don't go anywhere, y'all.
I'm going to be right here.
gonna say, just think about it. Since they went down, it's gonna just mean that one more team is gonna enter the ring here for, you know what I mean, for the fight for number one. Because it could have been a runaway train situation. It could have been just another great game, and that was it. But now that they've fallen, I mean, it really does open up the standings a little bit more.
Yeah, in particular for DJ and Agent Skills, and also the team who is third-partying their Aspect, Kaz, and Hoofishy, right? If they have big games right now, they can clutch up big time. In particular, if we see a Victory Royale coming out of DJ's team or Aspect's team, or obviously like Commandment's team in there too, man, this is just a championship title opened up to the field of how many people can go for it. Not as many as was on EU, because there was like 10 teams who could have won it in that final game, which is crazy. But still, having a number of teams going into that final game who have the potential to be the FNCS champions at the end of it is absolutely crazy. Right now, let's see what we're gonna see. As Justice team still in it as well.
This is close. This is very close.
It is. It is close. It's close indeed. User team, look how low below the threshold they are. Getting into a fight as Justice is actually picked up here as well. Users now down to low HP. Jukes as well. The second place team now also may be picked up here with only 4 points in this game.
Very, very important fight here. They go down. This is it. It's completely open for everyone else. But look, he gets a big pickup. Users picks up Justice here, and he actually throws him inside enemy box. Can he get the save here? He's got enough distance, but Knife, Fish, Donnie here, they're on the way. They're starting to look. They're looking to see if these floors are weak, and they're waiting for one another to open fire as a team. But no, instead they hesitate. They think against it. Little do they know that is the team that can actually take home the #1 spot right now. And all of a sudden, Dukes, Justin, Users are also granted another opportunity in this lobby when they should not have it. They should not have this chance right now. That should have been wraps for them.
Knifer's team just made a potential, I was about to say, tournament-altering decision there. But not only that, Jay's got beamed out the sky. Donnie's now left at the back as a solo as Justice is picked up for the second time as he's got lobby focus from outside, and Donnie's team did not pick up the knock, but they're going to finish and get all of the loot for that too. So Jukes and Users now left in this as a duo. They're fine on the Storm Surge, but they're not very fine on the Rotate. Very much similar to in game number 7 when we saw Hoofishy's team burn that launch pad to get themselves into a better spot. We're seeing it again, but now they're switching to full metal builds. Will they be able to suppress the lobby focus? It seems like the eyes are not on them, which to me suggests that the eyes right now are still onto Donnie's team. So potentially not going for that fight was not the correct play.
Oof, they just pulled that off. They just managed to stay alive a little bit longer. Scented also by himself right now. Split up from Edgy. Edgy on the other side, fighting Skittles here. Edgy, this is a very important 1v1 right now. First, second, third, all of which have had their own tumultuous games here, having struggles coming into this round right now. Aegis and Skittles find one another. Sense and Edgy will find one another. They are still in the game. So now another team has been fragmented here. Another top 3 trio all of a sudden has lost a member, and they are having a hard game. And this is an important game. This is a very, very pivotal moment for all of these trios here, Reese.
Look, think about this. First place, Tabs, Teo, Pledge out of this one. Second place, third place, and fourth place teams, being Jukes' team, Commandment's team, and DJ's teams, are all duos. So right now, our top 4 are completely in shambles in the second last game of the finals of NA East. You have to think the Aspect, Kaz, and Hoofishy, if they have a big game, or even Saf, Canada, and Stretch, if they have a big game too, this could hugely alter and potentially change the winners and the champions of the region.
Definitely. And you said it best. That was like a game-altering moment right there. And then the lobby focus comes in still, so they weren't even completely left off the hook. Back to it, though. Scented gets deleted out of the sky. Down he goes. And Edgy's going to come down for the quick save. He does land. He's going to be able to get this pickup here. Users and Dukes might be able to recognize the fact that this is a weak build next door. No, they're not going to see it, but Visuals comes on in. Oh, pros don't fake. Edgy should have committed there. And look at that. Now Scent is going to get wrapped up, and Edgy's on the run here to try to stay alive. He's running past tons of trios, and no additional focus is coming in. It's all or nothing now as he's scrambling here to stay up. He's starting to run out of the heavy mats, and there he goes down, and that's it. Third place out. It's even closer now.
Third place is out, but second place right here, almost out. Jukes pops the med kit, no shield to his name, and I'm pretty sure User still has some in his inventory, but them as a duo is so tough. Another duo underneath them, Day and Reverse as well. I don't feel like we're even watching trios at this point. It would seem like every single team that's had a contention spot, that's had a pop-off, seems to be in this game as a duo. So for Users and Juke right now, they hopefully have that launch pad that they can able to get something, but no, they're playing that signature aggression when it comes to 5th zone. They want the refresh. They want to ensure that they can keep themselves moving through the first moving zones, that 6th zone.
And don't forget, guys, Agers and Skittles are still alive here. That's our 4th place team. Just paired up right next door. No, Agers is down. Jack Acorn and Slacks are still up. They still have a chance here. On high ground is Bizzle right now, but Users down to 1 tag. Users falls. Dukes now has no HP. He gets landed on by Jack and Slacks. They're next door, and they get him taken out. Down goes Dukes, and all of a sudden that is it. 1, 2, and 3 are out of the game here. The standings are open officially for the other trios to jump on up to really set us up for a close final game 6.
Those final game 6, 1, 2, 3, and 4 are out, which leaves Aspect's team still in it. And it was Kaz who actually picked up the 1v2 onto Azur's team, so huge plays from them. Stretch still in this as well, our number 6th team. Not playing their usual high ground playstyle, but they're close. And if I would bet any money on it right now, Stretch is going to look up. He's going to see Bizzle up on high ground. He's going to start spraying, and they are going to look to claim the victory royale in this game. They are not a team who is content with being second high, with being mid-ground layer. They're a team who wants to play high, and they want to pick up the victory royale.
This is the opportunity right now. Opportunity of a lifetime here in the tournament. As no, the launch pad gets broken out there. Stretch is the only one who manages to take it. Kanata barely saves himself there, almost taking fall damage and getting taken out of the round. Here it is. Gabe is going to go on and fall all the way to low. Jack's still up. Other names still in this game as well. I am seeing, of course, Avery here. Who Fishy and company still up too. There, Kanata does manage to get down to his trio. Here's Stretch trying to branch his way on up. This is reminiscent of the final game of last season as we saw it all come down here, but don't worry. We get to continue this arc here today because we still have another round in front of us. Depending on how this plays out though, Reese, Stretch could jump up to top 3 here.
He could indeed, and this is such good awareness to make himself all the way up this hill. But no, Kanata is picked up at the back, so Stretch and Saf as well also picked up to Jack, who is just behind them on the leaderboard. So Stretch is now alive as a solo. He has to make sure he gets up this hill as fast as he can, and he's got Bizzle right on his back. But no, he's a great solo player. He understands exactly what he needs to do. He's got himself in that good position, and hopefully clutches himself up. Big placement points too. But Booga finally putting on a show with Nosh and Avery today, but no materials. They can't get out. They can't even build up with that single brick build that he tried to drop to Avery, so they dropped down to the back of the zone to avoid any of those eliminations giving them to anyone else.
All of a sudden, Frisk ends up on the high ground here. He's putting extra pressure down into the lobby. They're looking to take home this victory royale here. Stretch still alive, the most relevant player in this end game right now in a top 4 situation. Now, don't forget, Stretches have phenomenal solo performances in the past. One of the few players to actually take crowns home as a solo player, showing us what he's got. But there's a full trio up top. He's just got to survive at least one more team for some more placement points. I think he's done it. I think he actually clutched out this top 3. He's playing the Storm here, nice and slow. Can he steal away any of these elims right now? Wait, this is winnable. All of a sudden, this is very winnable. Stretch on high ground. It's a 1v2 situation. He's out of match though, Reese. He hits Frisk. That's one shot, but no, then it comes through. Frisk clutches up. Oh my gosh, that was so close.
That was so clutch. But for visuals, Big LG, Joji, and Frist as well. They're going to pick up the victory royale in the second last game for that as well. For them, they were looking really good at the end of day 1, but I'm not sure how close they were to the top at the end of our current leaderboard, so how much that actually impacts the top 3, the top 5. But look, Stretch, what a show he put on there. Clutching up a top 2 as well, remember, from being all the way down on the mountain, having to climb all the way up through the crevasse to make their way up to the top there to get a top 2. Beautifully executed play, and I'm sure that he's going to be happy with that, and in particular coming to this final game.
Hey man, definitely it's keeping it interesting for us here on the desk, and you know what, the story continues on. Let's hurry up and get to Zeke here so he can get to this last game.
Thank you guys so much. Crushing the casting right now. My goodness, shout outs to Observer. Like, if you did not understand the depth that these guys were in when that shot were looking up, that was a massive chasm they had to climb, and by that time, there's only a handful of builds in the pockets of every trio trying to navigate their ways up. I will say, once again, Frisk and company, Victory Royale 10 eliminations, you love to see it. But Saf, though, Vivid, he makes it into a second place. That is 26 points by itself.
Yeah, I mean, Stretch goes huge right there. Kanata and Saf go down a little bit earlier than him there, but he makes a great storm play, hides away in the storm because he knows he has that chug cannon, use the remainder of his builds to sneak up on the high ground, give him a shot at honestly winning the game, as MDF called right there. You know, there was a real opportunity for him to 1v2 that situation, but you know, that out of the picture, he picks up second place regardless, picks up a ton of solo points. And you know, looking at the leaderboard prior to that game, they were in 6th place, trailing by around 40 points outside of top 3. So that clutch right there, combined with the eliminations, is, as you can see here, going to put them in the top 4 with only 4 points behind top 3.
Wow, guys, first and second place right now, 5 points the difference going into the last game of FNCS finals. This is hype. It doesn't get much better than this. Oh my goodness. I mean, we saw in the last game there as well, fellas. We saw that a lot of trios, I mean, early on, even DJ Ages and Skittles there, like, you know, having to kind of drive off with 50 health left in their vehicle just to get something in the game standing points wise. We saw towards the end stretch, as you mentioned, made a massive play for Saf and Kanata to get into that top position. You can see they're at 256 right now. They're in 4th place, 174 placement points, 41 eliminations. We are talking small margins right here. You can see even in 5th position, 5 points behind them, Slacks, Acorn, and Jack right on their tails here. 2 points behind that, Aspect, Kaz, and Fishy. Reese and Vivid, you've chosen Commandment, Centered, and Edgy there, who are currently in 3rd position at 260 points. Only 26 from second, and I think 31 from top spot. There is still so much to play for. This is the last game as well, boys. Vivid, this is huge.
Yeah, I mean, if we go ahead and look at the math right there, Saf, Kanata, and Stretch had 220 points for that game, right? So they just had a 36-point game. If we look at where Commandment, Centered, and Edgy at, if they get 36 points and Justice, Users, Dukes, and Tabs, Teo, and Pledge don't get really any points, then they can win as well. Just want to kind of put it into perspective how close this is going to be going into this final game.
Yeah, it's going to be so close. I cannot believe that they're back on the top spot again. After such a tumultuous start at the beginning of today's proceedings, they finally make their way back there, but can they hold it in this one last game? It's kind of our own little mini reboot round here. I say mini. It's a huge reboot round because it's FNCS final for the actual champions. But still, it's massive. I think that's what it all comes down to, is whether or not they can hold out and get into those top spots, because we saw a lot of top teams are going down early on, giving other teams to kind of a chance to rise through and get in there. But let's take actually a look here at one of our top teams who we think could be very much in with a chance. We just saw Stretch. I mean, that play as well, Vivid, a second ago, where Stretch actually holds. He suddenly propels himself upwards to give himself the best opportunity, the trajectory above high ground, as we know these guys can strike so effortlessly, and gets that second position, giving them all those points. But I mean, they're a fantastic trio that I think we're going to, definitely see up there in this last game. They know exactly what to do. But DJ, Asian, Skittles, could this be their moment, Vivid? Could this be their time?
Yeah, I mean, them getting out of Horny is going to be really, really important for them to be able to establish a run at like top 3, potentially even at top 1 slot, right? Because in that last game, we saw that the trio that they are contested by, Lazo, Lazar, and Trashy, they actually made a little bit of a push on them that game, and they ended up being a shambles. So unfortunate for DJ, Agers, and Skittles in that sense. So they have to kind of figure that out for this last game because it's all on the line. And I think one of the biggest takeaways from looking at Stretch, Saf, and Kanata over the past 2 games is that a game ago, not this previous one, but the one before that, we saw them on the low ground and clutch up a 2nd place. Then Stretch solo as well. They're not even on the high ground. They're playing that mid ground top again, so he has to make a solo clutch from the low ground. These boys aren't even playing height right now. Like, if I would have said that like 5 games ago, none of you would have even believed me. Like, these guys are height connoisseurs. They love playing the high ground, and they are switching it up to go into the last game and try to give themselves the best chance at winning it.
I think that's what separates a lot of the teams as well. The fact that we know that these 3 players are all capable in that situation of clutching up as a solo in that end game, which gives them the best opportunity. Other teams might not have the same X factor as these guys do, but I tell you what, that is what I think separates them from a lot of other trios, and it could go all the way for them today.
Adaptability, right? We talk about this time to time, season to season. Which trio can keep up with the changes, the meta as it continues to evolve season to season? This is it, Fortnite fam. One final game in NA East. Which team will come out on top? Will Dukes and company see a win? Will Tabs G take it away? So much here to fight for. And don't forget, even if a team doesn't get a Victory Royale, they're trying to move up as high in the standings, because at the end of the day, you're still playing for prize money. Even if you don't walk away number one, if you go from 16th to 5th, that is such a difference in prize money. So let's do this. NA East, one last time, baby. MDF Reese,
let's go.
Over to you.
Here it is, guys. We're gearing up right now, and it's up to us to expect the unexpected, because that is what today has really proven to us, that anything can happen. Teams can truly rise up from the bottom of the pits here and all of a sudden be in a true chance to fight for the crown here. This is what we're watching right now, Reese. I mean, this is the final game. This is the last game, game number 12 of the two-day format here for the FNCS.
5 points in the lead ahead of Tabs G, Teo, and Pledge. Underneath that in third, Commandment, Scented, and Edgy being 26 points behind them too. Honestly, we've got to keep an eye on the elimination feed. If we see any of these teams going down right now, it's basically over for them.
Yeah, definitely. There's no room now to fall here. Because again, things are going to settle down. This is that early game here. Take a look at the standings. 291 Dukes, Justice, and Users. Tabs, Teo, and Pledge, 286. Take a look here. Teo gets knocked. This is very important. Our second place team, Trouble in Paradise. Third place, Scented, Commandment, and Edgy looking okay, looking comfortable right now. We're going to hop back over, though, see what's happening here. I hear shotgun shots unfolding right now.
But what's happened is a team switched up their drop swap potentially, or was he picked out of the sky upon drop? And it seems like it was that. So the bus came in from that southwest side, and one of the teams who'd landed on the Guardian Tower actually managed to knock him out of the sky. So panic over a little bit there. You know, I was getting a little bit worried. I thought there was a team switched up the drop swap, potentially went for the congestion there, trying to fight them, but no, they're lucky there.
A little "I'ma land on you" moment. Almost.
Last game got me worried, man.
No, it's okay though. They are completely clear, guys. They have the draw spots themselves. Things are gonna start to mellow back out, get into the normal groove here.
I know, Llama.
That could have been so close.
That could have been close. That could have been very, very bad for them. They got the Llama as well, which ended up turning what was a really bad situation into something that didn't really matter, right? The team who landed to the west of them got their Storm Surge out of, beaming him out of the air at that moment. They've got the Llama. They've got a ton of ability to rotate much quicker now out of this too, and they're going to hopefully get themselves to a good spot. But looking at Scented, Edgy, and Commandment, who've rotated to the south side and already picked up Dictating here. We see Wrigley already hiding in the house, trying to just do what he can to keep away from this powerhouse trio that's here. As this third member of the team just tries to get out of this spot as well, almost just denying Scented, Commandment, and Edgy any points. But no, they're on the chase, and it's K-Burbs just trying to get away from the duo who's chasing them in the car.
The best part about this is that it seems like they were just saving this trump card for the last game, because they know that the strategy of this trio, right? One player is always going to be down here trying to farm out, and this is why they take advantage of this entire thing. And leaving one player behind up on the mountain is probably the biggest risk that they're going to put forth. But it's a 2v1 situation. We're talking about two of the best to have ever done it here, up against K-Burbs right now. K-Burbs, he's up. He's got a big shoes to fill here if he wants to win this fight right now. But it's about to be all over here as they start to hop in. There it is. Commandment wraps him up. And what do you think? I'm thinking they were waiting to play this one out right here, and all of a sudden now they have all the surge and the tags that they need.
Yeah, let's set this up in comparison to the previous season, right? They made a push that went on to Flush Factory that didn't end up working out for them in the final match. But in that time, they were leading. They were in the position where they didn't need to choke at that point. It was so close. Right now, Scented, Commandment, Edgy have nothing to lose. They are down. They're in third right now. They need the eliminations, and they need a huge game as well in order to push themselves back up in the leaderboards. Being down like this is the play. They've saved it for the moment. They know that Dictating's team is landing to the south of them. They've looted fast. They've rotated early, and they've pushed into that position and picked up an easy 2 eliminations here, which has summoned and kind of dealt with some of those real issues that they had with Storm Surge, which we have not seen them deal with typically before, but somehow in the second day, very, very problematic for them.
Yeah, definitely. Those problems start to pile up here, but hey, they're getting ahead of the issues before they really starts to take its course. Kanata, Saf, and Stretch, having a great day right now. 139 points so far. And the best case scenario for them, the top 3 teams to have a struggle of a round before, then all of a sudden them to have just a pop-off game off the backs of Stretch's big clutch there. They're in 4th place, sitting comfortable, at least in a true fighting chance here for the 1st place spot. Now, it is, of course, going to come down to whether or not the performance can be met, right? If Dukes, Justin Users can outperform Tabs, Teo, and Pledge, and then the rest of the lobby, that'll be that. That'll be wraps. But we already know anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Indeed, they're already situating themselves up in a nice power position early on, and they're just going to be looking to get wherever they can. These hills are often claimed by those teams who land at Lazy Lake very, very early on, so we're hoping to see a large split from them, which they are. They're claiming 3 different horizontal spots here, which is good. They can have the most opportunity for tags. And actually, we saw in the feed there, Commandment finished up onto Wrigley there. So that was the 3rd elimination. So they picked up that final elim from that trio. So they were not slowing down anytime soon. They were still looking for that aggression. And they have set themselves up fantastically in this game. Same with Saf, spotting the Llama.
Yeah, and they need those points, right? They need those points. Those are big points. They have a gap to fill here to catch up, Reese.
Oh, hold on. Oofishy's team being pushed by Moo right now. This is some animal-on-animal violence, but no, he's managed to back on out into his teammates of Kaz. I was worried that I thought Kaz and Aspect potentially had been knocked or were down out early, and this was the finishings of a final race here, but no, he's managed to get back into his teammates. This doesn't seem to be an engagement that we're going to see happening, and I'm wondering if in this final game we're going to see teams like Moo, right? Those teams who are lower down on the leaderboards go for a more aggressive game and try to pop off with a bunch of eliminations, because honestly, like, you kind of have nothing to lose at that point. Realistically, they're down in 32nd. If they want to get, I think, top 26 is where they get more money out of this. So they need a huge game anyway. So for them, they kind of might as well up the aggression and see if they can pick up a ton of eliminations and a victory royale too.
Yeah, let's not forget, these placements stay with you as well, right? Your competitive career. So everyone here is hungry. They have the mentality of doing the best that they can. And, sometimes you just got to game the system. You got to game the format. And if that means you need a big round with a ton of eliminations and not just an end game, hey, we're going to see some upsets here for sure. The potential is very high, but I think we've seen enough of those clashes, right, between some of the top teams, at least for what we'll see unfold for a last game here, game number 12 in the early game. Everything else should be relatively smooth sailing from here on out as far as the traditional pacing goes, the normal clash and whatnot. The early game fights, I don't see any of our top tier teams, if they haven't been taken out already, getting jumped on anytime soon.
No, I think all of our top tier teams are situated in the top tier positions. This is a South zone, which remember has benefited the majority of our top 5 teams as well, right? Because Saf is relatively centered, being in Lazy Lake, but obviously a little bit to the south. We've seen Commandment sitting in Edgy, already wanting and asking for those South zones as well. We see right now Slacks, Acorn, and Jack, who's currently in 5th, also being a South Zone team as they drop at Slurpy Swamp, rotating themselves up now onto the Guardian Tower here. So, benefiting a lot of our top teams.
Let's take a look here, though. In a quick stack, 40 points separate 1st from 5th compared to 70 points going into the final game last season. It's really just starting to show us how close this really is for our top 5 teams, guys. It is so close, and it has never been closer for us here on the desk. So, if you are rooting for True Fighter's chance for taking this all here,
this is what you want to see going into the final games. If you're a player, you want to have that 70-point lead. You want to keep your distance. You want to make sure that you're solidified at the top. You're safer, right? You have that position down. But for us watching, let's be real. I want to see a close game. I want to see it go down to the wire in the final match.
This is it. I mean, yeah, it has been closer. Teo here, caught out by himself. Where is his teammates? Why is he eyeballing up a full trio right now? Pledge and Tabs G are down. This is devastating for our 2nd place team right now. They are 5 points off of number 1. How can you put all this pressure on Teo's shoulders right now to actually pull home this win right now?
I mean, you can't. You've got to remember that he's going to be struggling with Storm Surge by himself to start with. Not only that, if he manages to get the 5 points out from getting that first placement threshold and somehow Duke's team doesn't, which it doesn't seem like they're going to this moment, they're still not going to win on a tiebreaker. They're still not going to win the tiebreaker. So he needs more eliminations. They need an additional point to go alongside of that. And that is not looking like it's going to happen right now. So for Teo's team, this is so critical, and I'm not sure how he's going to do it. I would love to understand what the comms are going to be like, what the passion is going to be like in that call right now. I'm sure, to be honest, I think they're going to be deadly silent.
Oh no, Teo's getting pushed up on first. Jonathan already moving on through. Teo's not confident about this, trying to change his layer. He's going to go all the way down here, giving up the power position here. Expanding materials, trying to put up a fake, just a front right now to show, hey, you have some room to work with. Blowing through all the mess. You have to in these kind of spots, in these kind of situations. You just have to. And that's all the panic setting in here. Not leaving anything for risk. Be careful with that floor, though.
Be careful indeed. He's used the majority of materials here. This is heartbreaking, honestly. This is devastating to watch as he's created such a good base for him. But I don't even know if that edge underneath there is in the storm. I'm not sure if he's actually managed to make the full rotate in using those materials yet. And if we see the team above Frist's team with Joji and Visuals notice this, man, they've only heard one footstep. They've only heard one player build. And if they find him down there and realize that it's Teo, it could be over. But he's managed to be 4 damage above the threshold right now. That is so close. And if that sticks, I will be very, very surprised.
Oh my gosh. And not only that, all those mats he built, it's not towards the direction of the new zone. It is in the opposite direction. So he's just putting up all this, again, this spacing here. I was wondering if it was for just a fight, maybe. Maybe he was trying to fight for the reboot card or something. But no, time's surely gone now. Teo peeking the cone here, trying to see if he can get any extra info right now to jump in, find a tag here. He's going to need it, guys. He's going to have to go for it. Mind you, these are enemy walls, heavy material as well. He's exposed to the side there. Oh, wait a second. These are his old builds here. Okay. He can actually work with this.
That's it, but he's dropped below. He's now 12 below. If he had to get an opportunity, that could have been it. I hope there's materials in there. He's crouching. He still doesn't know if there's any of those enemies still left in there, but we know they've dipped. Actually, there's one whole team at the end, and I don't know.
Tons of heals.
But look at this. He could out-heal this.
Okay.
So this could be it, right? He needs to get a top 25 from here, which is going to get in the next threshold. But at the same time, we need to see Duke's Justice and Users go down too. The spray started to come in from other teams, but not only that, he's going to potentially have to rotate. I don't know if you sit in Tank Storm with the medkits. I think you do. He has the chug cannon here. He has the medkits. He has to just sit here and do what he can and let these teams pass and try and sneak on by, because you can see Joji, Vicious, and Frist just boxing up at the edge, and I'm sure they're going to be the ones who's picked up the eliminations so far onto the remainder of his team. So potentially they think he's here, as they've also picked up an elimination onto Spegu there. Teo now going for the shots onto Skittles, which is another team who's currently in the top 4 as well.
Yeah, look at that, Teo. I'm not sure if he found those tags. We're going to find out here shortly, but he's definitely sitting on a pile of loot here. He's going to have to use it. Yes, he does. He found at least 2 or 3 tags there, and he's trying to take these heals with him. Very smart play here. Bring as much as you can to the zone, because he's absolutely going to need it. He definitely has time to work with as well, so no rush here. Now, remember, he has to get top 24 for at least 5 points, guys. Every single ounce counts. We're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars, life-changing money, especially for some of these up-and-coming young talent like Teo that have been grinding the scene here. Again, having these FNCS appearances and now proving that they can actually do this all here, but pressure's high here. Storm Surge, he's below it. He's going to have to start healing here, Reese. 2 players have to go down. Do you think he's going to make it? That's the real question.
I think he'll make it. He'll make it. There's one full trio. Remember that they are below Storm Surge. So when they get eliminated, if they have less heals, that should be okay. This is one of the only times where out-healing Storm Surge should be okay. Also, just given he has this huge pile of loot in here that he can heal off. Still more at the back of Storm, right? He can just sit, use these minis, go through. It should be okay. Because remember, it's him and one other team getting tagged for Storm Surge right now. So somewhere else, it's DJ and Aegis and Skittles over there too.
Oh my
we can see that they're weak. So when they start to go down, Teo should be okay right now. But remember, Dukes, Justice, and Users are also going to be getting the additional points from this placement too that they go through. So despite the fact they make it there, they should be okay. But moving back over to them, to their POV, DJ and Aegis and Skills. DJ alive as a solo, 26 HP. They are currently 7th place. So this is huge. He gets picked up. Now it's down to Skittles with 7 HP and a dream to see what he could do.
Now, mind you, still need more teams to go down if we want to give some placement points to Teo. So everyone's still in it. Skittle's going to go down. That's one more team that Teo does not have to worry about at this point. And again, these teams rotating here, as much as he wants to tag them because he's going to need these tags, he's got to be very careful to not show his hand, not play the fact that he is an absolute solo on the backside of his zone. If he gets too close to D-Roller, he will be spotted out, turned, and burned on. So he has to eat a little bit of the storm line here. Play so close to it. This is, oh man, pressure's so high for him right now.
The pressure's so high, and any mistake could be him eliminated. The fact that he's not being seen here is absolutely crazy. His movement so slow and calculated. D-Roller's team is right next to it. They both have not spotted him. They're using the inflatable, but the builds start to come out now as we heard the sniper shot come through. So his awareness has been understood from D-Roller's team, but the spray has not started to come up yet. Teo starts to trade back, but Trashy's team now starting to hold him at the edge of the zone as well. He's down to 150 HP. If 2 AR tags come on through to him, he will be cracked and he will be focused. He is down to only wood left remaining, and this is so close as he starts to rotate into the congestion of D-Roller and Charlie, who have spotted him, who know that he's weak, who see the wood as well, and almost definitely who are going to start spraying.
And this is a 5-tick now. This is where the zone really starts to do damage. This is the worst zone to stay sitting inside of. One player can go down, or one team, for him to get some points. No, he's going to instead grant the points to the rest of the lobby. The entire lobby, whoever is alive right now, has earned 5 additional points for placement. And just like that, Tabs G, Teo, and Pledge, their tournament run is over. But my gosh, hats off to them. What a great run you guys have managed to put up this season.
Crazy, honestly, very impressive. And for Teo, I can't imagine the nerves that he was under in that situation. He must have honestly been shaking to try and get himself just some points, but look, it was never going to be enough. Users, Justice, and also going on along with Jukes right now. Such a good spot on the zone. Fully dead side with plenty of materials, 11 peppers, the pads in their inventory, tons of ammo. They're not only looking to get tons of points this game, they're looking to pick up the Victory Royale and take home the championship title as well.
This is a loadout to take a W if I've ever seen it. Those 11 peppers, guys, we haven't seen much of it here in this season, but they were dominant in the last season. And take a look at this. Justice jumping into the fight right now with Dukes and Users. This is that aggression. This is the little bit of risk that we were seeing in them in day number 1. It seems like they have shooken all of the doubts and you know, the misplays aside here. And in the back half of day 2 so far, they have really stepped up today. They have stepped it up. They've played exceptional. But look at this. They're still going to need a little bit more tags, right? They're 117 above. It's going to be good for now, but how long can this last here?
I think they can last it for a while, right? 12 players need to go down. I'm sure they'll manage to get at least a couple more tags from this position as well, given the players around them. We see Damir reverse down below. Obviously, Sharkman's team here too. LG, Joji's team too. But Jode, no, this could be overly aggressive. They may not need this, but I'm sure they've hit the tag. A 34 white comes out. No, they've picked up the elimination. They've solidified themselves. I don't think that was a point. I'm not sure. Yes, no, Juke's actually got 2 eliminations. So 4 points from that. More Storm Surge and more materials as well.
Now, what if they pull high ground right now with that refresher they're sitting on here? This could be everything and more for Justice, Dukes, and Users here. It's Commandment, Edgy, and Scented. They have to be shaking in their boots right now as Saf. Oh, wait a second. Saf is down right now. This is stretching Kanata's trio that we're looking at. 2 damage below the surge. This is rough.
This is so rough for them right now. And again, they have to make it rotate with the entire team to do that as well. Users does get zoned. They're probably going to take height as well, which will be huge for them. But Scented, Commandment, Edgy, 4 eliminations to their name. In the best position we have seen them in all day so far, and they're looking to make it better. These here, the Ocus team is getting tagged by the Surge, and they are indeed going for it. They're looking for the aggression. They're spraying the force. They drop the entire trios down. Knock body as well. They pick up the final elimination. I'm not sure if they got the points for it, but they're getting chunked back, but they are not fussed at all. They're getting out there with cap materials and perfect HP, ready to go into the end game. This is looking like a 2-horse race.
Definitely right now. Scented, Edgy, and Commandment are showing us that they want to fight for this win here. They are not content with being the team that has taken second season after season. But it is such an uphill battle for them right now, and you can tell they're willing to put the risk out there. And I love this here because they're keeping it nice and interesting for us. as things are starting to really settle down now. Teams are rotating through, and they are still a full trio. So the hope is real here for this team.
It's full trio, but look who's on height. Justice's team was just off screen there.
Gosh.
They got the zone, they got the power position as well. They're in their commanding spot where they are comfortable. Scented, Commandment, Edgy on the full low ground. This is their home. This is where they're comfy. On the high ground, the exact same thing can be said against Jukes, Justice, and Users. Both teams in their pivotal spots. Who will take home the championship slide? We're about to find out when it comes to this final endgame.
4 elims already. They're closing up the gap here that they definitely have to catch up on. It's going to take a lot more than that, though, as Duke's Users and Justice here are sitting inside the base. They're being very passive here, and they have a big decision to make right now. Do they crank for high ground and just go for it, put it all on the table, expend the material, or do they be nice and safe, play it slow, stay on the low ground? This is a very tough decision for them right now.
Going to see. I don't think they're going to overcommit to high ground. They don't know who's in the lobby. They don't know if Saf's team is still here looking to take it, looking to claim it at this moment. So they're going to be opportunistic about it. These guys have been smart. They've been calculated in every single end game they go to. No risks at all. For Scented, Commandment, Edge, they've hit their first pad. Hopefully they have another, because that is not going to take them far enough.
I think they do. I mean, they found all that extra loot earlier. Duke's Justice Users just inching their way on out. They're just looking right now, trying to find the perfect time so they could pop this launch pad here. And there it is. They have all the information that they need. They've managed to scout it all out. They know it's okay. The air is safe to fly in. No one is situated just yet. Stretch on the other side, popping off here, finds himself an elimination there. They are no longer below the surge. They're just battling it here in this moment. For Scented, Commandment, and Edgy, they're full on tarping, full base tarping, all the way through to the new zone. And remind you, they did have that refresher as well. Scented gets cut off, though. He's got to be careful here. And it's Dukes and company on the other side of the wall here, putting that extra pressure into another team now on the low ground. They're piece controlling all the builds here. They are setting themselves up to be our FNCS champions. They've officially broken to top 17 now. This is it.
This is it. Top 15. The spacing impeccable. Both players, all three, staying so close to each other. If another team opens up the wall, if they find opponents, if they find enemies near them, they will all triple pump at the same time. This is their classic playstyle when they're playing this low to mid as well, and they're 270 above the Storm Surge damage, trying to move on in, getting into the back of the tarps. All three of them taking shots on the same opponents, but no eliminations are come through. They're going to keep going, try to get round onto the side. Inside the box, they've got the corner place, and that's a knockdown onto Fatch as well. They're going to keep applying that. The finish comes through as well. The elimination points will come through. The refreshes in the inventory. 82 builds still onto Jukes. They are looking so strong coming into the end game.
These huge eliminations, guys. This party might just be over soon. Get ready to get your jackets and go on home, because right now, Dukes, Justice, and Users are putting themselves in a position to take this entire thing home here. And look it, you can tell they're feeling very confident. They're starting to fight every team on their layer, and they have the mats to do it. They have everything that they can actually ask for to be victorious in this last game. Now putting that focus up to second height, though. Divine and Slim are up there. Stretch is going to go up from the side. If he does manage to do it, it could open up the opportunity for Justice and crew to go for it. Justice is going to go for it. They want to end this on a victory royale. They want to take home this whole thing with a big W, and Dukes is showing us what he's got. And now the team in first place has high ground in the final moments here of the last game. FNCS Day 2, Reese. We might just be watching greatness unfold here.
We 100% are. This is the day one Users, Justice, and Jukes that we saw yesterday. The performance that we had out of them, they've just waited until the final game to pull it all out. 4 eliminations to their name. High ground secured right now by them all, and absolutely pivotal for Justice. Also picking up more eliminations onto Stretch, down below on the low ground too. They just have the commanding position, and now it's all about securing it. They have the materials and are pressuring all of the teams down below.
This is it. Scented still up. Scented goes down. Edgy goes down. And now you are officially watching Justice, Dukes, and Users cruise their way on home and take home the Axe of Champions here. It's all going to start unfolding. Commandment goes down to the hands of the high ground team. That's right. They'll be your new FNCS champions, and they could take this home on a W. Put the shots down. Take home the win. All that hard work that they put in this weekend can finally pay off. And yes, Justice, you deserve to dance on height because this is your game. Game number 12, the last game. Reese, here it is. The final moments now. The shots are coming through. There's only 2 teams between them and finally solidifying that big W they fought so hard for. Here it is. The last player, the low ground. Bring it on home, boys. And as a trio, they do it. There it is. GG's.
Not only will the victory royale go to Dukes, Justice, and Users in the final game, the FNCS Championship will also go to them. The pickaxes, the crowns on their head. Clinical play throughout the whole weekend. They had us worried in the second half there for a minute. They absolutely did, but they pulled it on back with a victory royale in the end.
That is the greatest way. That is the greatest way any team can win, and a full-on FNCS is with a victory royale, Reese, and we got to watch it. Front row seats.
Yo, we got to watch it from the front row as well. I couldn't have asked for anyone better to do it with at the same time, man.
Definitely. Hey, listen, we're out of here. We're going to sign off. Monster D-Face, Reese, those games are great. Des, take it. Take it from here, guys.
Thank you guys so much. You are 2 incredible casters. Reese, listen, massive shout out, brother. You went as an analyst, 8 games in EU. You came over here, 6 casted games. Fortnite fam, y'all know what to do. Give him a follow, okay? Give MDF a follow as well. My goodness, I just cannot believe, right? This was the kind of story that developed yesterday. Duke's trio, this trio that just showed up, was so dominant, right? They leave qualifiers, and where they'd won like 3 games back to back, and we're thinking like, wait, we're not even watching that heat. How powerful and potent is this team? Suddenly they roll up here. Yesterday, 5 games in a row, they did not leave first place. Game number 2 today, they leave first place, and we think, is this it? Is this the end of the Dukes trio? Could they have started so strong to then suddenly be dethroned in day number 2? No, Vivid! No!
Yeah, and if you guys were looking at those highlights right there, we saw the sniper rifle elimination come through from Frisk on the tabs. He was in second place, which basically secured the champions here, Dukes, Justice, and Users. They are your Chapter 2 Season 7 FNCS champions. The Day 2 stats. Oh, there we go. It's fixed now. 333 points, 2 victory royales, 64 eliminations, and a 9.5 average placement. These guys played incredible. Day 1, they blew us out of the water. We couldn't even believe how well they were playing. Day 2, a little shaky at the start, as MDF alluded to, but they cleaned it up at the end.
They did, and they put on such a great show for all of us as well watching. You know, our predictions were, I mean, mine was way off, but you guys got very close with Center Commandment trio there. But I think with these guys, what was so special is that they've constantly managed to turn things around. When everything was thrown at them, there they are. And not only have they got that points tally, not only have they got the AXA champions, they won $135,000 between the 3 of them to share as well, which is absolutely magical. I shared earlier on a kind of a post saying that, you know, let's get behind these guys because this is an opportunity to really put themselves on the map. This gives them a future and we can celebrate that with them, and they have done exactly that. They've given themselves such a pedestal to kick on and have an incredible career from this point onwards in Fortnite, and it's amazing to see. But we saw there, you know, kind of, I mean, you couldn't have asked for it more perfectly written as well. To get the victory royale in the very last game, Vivid, I mean, this is a thing of beauty. You can't write this any better.
It was scripted, Adam. Come on, let's just tell him, right?
It's all scripted, yeah. We wrote this ages ago.
But I mean, huge performance from Commandments and an edge there to clutch up a second place. Man, these guys are gonna love getting second place again. $105,000 for those guys to share. And, you know, we're just going to give you guys a quick little recap on our Day 2 start. Let's not forget that Clarity G, Knight, and Shark came out with a statement, right? It was back-to-back victory royales in Game 1 and Game 2 today. We thought that they were going to make a really good contention for that, like, top 3 slot, but, you know, they ended up falling off a little bit towards the end. And this was a huge win coming out of Rokane. I believe they just finished in 9th, so, you know, this contributing to them finishing that high up on the leaderboard.
Yeah, we see Degen, Ages, and Skittles here as well, who managed to get themselves really back in contention by propelling themselves back up with that victory royale and a ton of eliminations to go with it here. Then we saw Frisk, Joji, Viscals as well come back with again almost 10 eliminations there and really putting themselves in with contention to at least obviously we know the prize pool is a huge kind of positive that comes out of this as well here competing at FNCS, and those guys really did that up the leaderboard. And then Dukes uses Injustice. I mean, this is what I'm so happy about as well, is they had such a big day yesterday to start off today in such a bad way, really, but then to suddenly turn things around to show that the mindset did change, experience, whatever it might be, they have come out and they've got the spotlight you can see right here. Top 10 games, 7 of those in the top 10, which is fantastic to see. We got 40-plus point games, 5 of them. 5 40-plus point games. Full team eliminations, 7 for Team Wipes. Eliminations versus the top 10, 36. I mean, that is exactly what you got to do. I think that what we've seen here in FNCS as well this season is that on this day 2, it has been back and forth for all of our trios. There's been lots of opportunities for trios to rise the ranks because some have gone out so early on in each of our games. And these guys have just managed to take advantage right at the bitter end, Vivid, and come through and do an incredible job. I'm absolutely elated for these boys. Well done to Dukes Justice News. They put on such a great show for us, for you guys. What a weekend. Worthy champions, man.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic showing. They 100% deserve it. Dukes Justice end users, they did a great job finding eliminations throughout the 12 games at 64 eliminations, an average elim of 5.33. And to recap, here are all so far the FNCS champions.
It looks like a beautiful axe right there as well. So good to see. Yeah, these are all the champions that have been crowned thus far in different regions. Some are yet to be crowned. You can see NA West and Brazil there. But looking at Europe, Kiriachi, Stormy, right, and Tus. If you didn't see Kiriachi's finale earlier on EU, do go back and watch the VOD because it is sensational, dragging his team over the finish line and clutching up so to try and get as many placement points as possible and get them the ultimate victory royale, the active champions, and the win in Europe, which was so good to watch unfold. Obviously here in NAUs, you guys have joined us as well for Dukey's trio. I mean, they were all there. Every single team at this point has gone through the qualifiers, reboots, whatever it might be, and then finals against the top trios there are in their region and done it. And they are sensational. Every step of the way, sensational.
Yeah, man, 100%. If you're a trio that's made it to finals, hold your head high. That is the hardest thing to do, is just to get there, let alone compete, man. To everyone who plays, congratulations. To our champions, congratulations. But that is it. The competition is done here in NA East, and that wraps up the FNCS here in so far. But don't forget, we have NA West. We also have to take a look at Brazil, crowned champions in both of these regions. That will be after a break, and then we will return for an additional 6 games and close out the FNCS in Chapter 2 Season 7. As always, Fortnite fam, please give a big follow to Vivid, to Adam, to MDF, to Reese, all these guys. Giving it their all. Reese is just a maniac. I mean, he's borderline trying to do his best Shy Wager / Zeke impersonation, just taking over regions. You love to see it. We love you guys so much. Don't forget to check out the item shop for Major Glory before she leaves. And until next time, we love you. We'll see you on that battle bus.